Oh, yeah, I got to record this shit too. All right, everyone. You're tuning in to the WWE Super Slump 2023 review. I am always your host, Jordan or Jay Rich. Got Devontae Squilliams with me. It's been a while. We haven't done a show since, probably War Games or something like that. I just feel like we did something after War Games, but a lot has gone on. I think I made an update episode a while ago, but if nothing else, I'll catch you up. Just a whole lot of stuff, man. I couldn't watch the product no more, and I definitely had to get off social media. The WWE fans drive me fucking insane. But we're gonna get to that because before we actually touch on the show, I got a lot of stuff to fucking talk about. But I do want to let everyone know that Devon did go to the show live, and we'll touch on that as well. So he's gonna have a little different viewpoints. It was in Detroit. His friend Muhammad was supposed to be with us today, couldn't make it. He went there live as well, but we'll probably have Muhammad on for the next major show. Maybe we'll get him on the Saudi show.
There you go.
Why? Come on.
There you go.
So we got him, and then my buddy Slayer, Werner, was supposed to be here, and he couldn't make it as well. But we're here. We're gonna touch on this. We're gonna be in. So grab your popcorn, grab your pop. We got a lot to take, to talk about. I got You said what? You
soda, no pop. You thought you was just gonna sneak that shit in there? Nah.
Yeah, boy. No. Grab your soda, pop, and your food and your drink. And get ready, because we're going to be in here for a while. I got pages upon pages of notes. We got a whole lot of shit to talk about. I know the last time we did a show, it was prior to the Mandy Rose debacle. I got to call IWC out on a whole bunch of shit. I got receipts. No, y'all marks. Y'all fucking marks. Sitting there bitching about Mandy Rose. Fucking getting fired, but Paige didn't. She willingly uploaded fucking nudes, whereas Paige got her shit hacked. I had to sit there for a whole month looking at the IWC talk about this dumbass shit. I could go in further on the Mandy Rose shit. We ain't going to, because now we're going to get to the next topic at hand. And you may notice on the cover of the Twitter page, the last episode we were going to talk about WWE's potential sale to Saudi Arabia. Because this was another mark moment. Because everyone started buying into the bullshit that WWE was being sold to the Saudis. I knew off rip that was not going to fucking happen. But everyone was marking the fuck out. And even if it did, it wouldn't have fucking mattered. Your platform you're most likely using to listen to this show on as we speak is most likely funded or operated by the Saudis. The device that you're playing the platform to listen to this, show on is most likely funded by the Saudis. If you have an iPhone, if you went to Starbucks, if you use Facebook, Twitter, any of that shit, it's funded by the fucking Saudis. You fucking marks. I had to listen to that shit for months. No one knew what they was talking about with that. That shit was driving me insane. So yeah, that's my receipt for the Saudi marks. Then we go on to the Vince McMahon bullshit. You notice I have him in a nurse's outfit. Ooh. We got Triple H getting shoved down LA Knight's mouth. If you hadn't noticed that, because I'm looking at that from the perspective of what I like to call the Triple H marks, the Triple H sheep, the Triple H dick riders, because I am beyond done with this fucking bullshit. Just because this motherfucker ran NXT, which mind you, he wasn't completely in charge of creative with NXT. He was the fucking executive vice president of talent relations. He had nothing to do with the creative on NXT. I'm sure he may have told him, the writers, to write some things. But the final say didn't go through him. Final say went through the same person that it's always gone through when it's funded and operated by this man, and that is Vince McMahon. That's how the WWE has worked since the dawn of time. They have had 1 million writers employed by that company. It don't matter what they write, what they type, what they say, what they think. At the end of the day, all that shit goes through one person. One person. Typically the night of the show, and then it's rewritten all over again. And so for y'all to sit here and continuously sit here and fucking ride this man's nuts. Okay, we're going to, since he's completely, apparently he's you can't criticize him. He's escaped criticism because he's not Vince, right? Well, let's talk about the last month. So, Devon, what was people bitching about in the last month? I haven't been watching, for those that know. Even well before WrestleMania, I'd stopped watching. I watched the Royal Rumble, and I had watched WrestleMania, but I did not tune into any of the other pay-per-views, and I did not tune into any of the Raws or SmackDowns leading to that. So go ahead and tell me what they were bitching about in the last 30 days prior to the show.
Ooh. Well, we can go to Money in the Bank with the whole LA Knight debacle. You wanted him to win Money in the Bank. They immediately went and blamed Vince for that shit.
Oh, it was Vince's fault.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, then what else? Because I think there was more. What else was there?
God damn.
I know one. That Trish and Becky didn't make it onto the
Trish
show.
Becky, yeah.
You know whose fault that was? That was Vince's fault, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, do you know where Vince McMahon has been for the last 30 days? In a fucking hospital bed. He was getting spinal surgery. He broke his back. His back is broken. Spinal. Do you know his current title in the company, Devon?
What would that be?
Chairman of the board. He has nothing to do with the on-screen television product. Nothing to do with the creative process. But Dave Meltzer said, shut the fuck up. Fuck Dave Meltzer, too. Hey, yo, Dave Meltzer, what happened to Bray Wyatt? What happened to Bray Wyatt? Because I remember on, what was it, the Monday after WrestleMania, Bray Wyatt was supposed to come back. And he was going to, remember that shit, Devon? And that was his WrestleMania. Remember, he had wrote an article about how they saw Bray Wyatt in L.A. at the airport. And some fan asked him, said, well, were you coming to WrestleMania tonight? He said, my WrestleMania is tomorrow. What happened to that? Oh, yeah. The same guy that reports on all kinds of bullshit that ends up being false. Oh, I got a lot of receipt with Dave Meltzer, too. But if y'all haven't fucking caught the goddamn fucking drift by this point, quit fucking buying into this fucking bullshit. Quit marking out. Just because something doesn't go the way you want creatively doesn't mean that you can use Vince as a fucking scapegoat because the show is fucking trash and you don't want to criticize Triple H. In fact, when you don't criticize people in places of power, regardless if it is or isn't his fault, then that's typically how things get out of fucking control. Xbox fanboys didn't want to criticize Phil Spencer for years. And in 2013, that motherfucker tried to take away used games, make your console run for fucking 24 hours a day, and the Kinect couldn't come away from it. Once he got criticism, what do you think Microsoft started doing? Damage control. They tried to get the fucking Xbox One back in people's homes. They tried to get people wanting to buy that shit. And they've done a pretty good job of trying to please the fans. But if you don't criticize someone, it's never going to get better. So when you levy your criticism towards the wrong person, even if, even if it is him, He's not the one with the title. The one with the title is the one you need to be criticizing. Because if he wants to keep that title, he'll make sure shit changes. Everyone sits here and shits on Ronnie 2K for 2K. I'm guilty of that. But I know that a majority of these programming faults with that garbage fucking game is Mike Wang. So I have turned my attention to Mike Wang and the 2K higher-ups that allow these fuckers to keep putting out this garbage every fucking year. Quit marking out. Do your fucking research. Think before you fucking speak. Everyone sits there and they shit on right-wing people for misinformation. I remember the whole, election misinformation, all this and that. We gotta ban these tweets off of our platform for misinformation. And then every single one of those left-wing crackpots proceed to misinform people. All the same WWE fans that sit there and bitch about misinformation are over here misinforming people by not doing their research. I've heard everyone in that company blamed for creative bullshit that have nothing to do with creative. I've heard Bruce Pritchard, Kevin Dunn, Michael Hayes. All these people have completely different job titles and have nothing to do with the actual writing process. And the final say does not go through them. The final say goes through Triple H. So, get off of your fucking bullshit! Tired of looking at it. The show is open to criticism. When someone criticizes something, they're not just a contrarian to be a contrarian. Take that contrarian, turn it sideways, and shove it up your ass! Now, you're probably going to think, based off of the mood that I'm in and the diabolical photo that I've used for the show, that this is going to be a negative hate-bashing review. That is not the case. I actually looked back on this SummerSlam after watching it again today, literally just right before we began doing this review. I look back on it, and yeah, there's a lot of matches that were overhyped, overrated, or, just things that could have been way better. But I still think I would rather watch this SummerSlam over a majority of the SummerSlams in the past decade. It was not bad. And we'll go through that, and I'll definitely, give criticism where it is valid. No, it is not to be a contrarian opinion. It's to give you a legitimate fucking thing where I see that there's an issue or why this person is not drawing or why people are falling asleep during their matches. So, without that, without further ado, Devon, if you want to give them a brief, I guess just overall thoughts of the, your live experience. Now, don't go through any matches or, anything like that. Just kind of tell them some things about the live experience that maybe people that never went to a live PLE of this magnitude, that maybe they should know or things that you thought was interesting.
Well, I'll say this. I'm glad I got there as early as I did. Because, when you get to the fucking arena or whatever, or stadium, whatever the fuck it's going to be in,
Mm-hmm.
It's the amount of people that are going to be, if you don't like crowds of people, you're definitely asked out in that regard, because fucking 59,000 people there. And by the time the fucking doors were ready to open and all that shit. And that line, because I got there at 2:30, and it was already a big ass fucking crowd of people. They got the merch shit set up outside the stadium, and they have the whole street pretty much just sealed off from one side of the fucking arena, and they've got a bunch of food trucks and shit. Then they've got all the shit you can take pictures with. There was a thing with Shotzi's tank, DX's tank, fucking The Undertaker's fucking, I forgot what the fuck it's called.
The
thing for the funerals. Yeah, the hearse. Yep. That shit. And they had something else. Oh, Eddie's Lowrider. take pictures of all that shit. Fucking, they had this thing with Cricket where you can like cut your own promo. If you're that big of a mark, you can go and do that. Fucking, obviously all the sponsored stuff like C4 Energy, handing out all free C4 Energy drinks, and like the fucking sampling of the Mike's Harder shit. You know, the god of the fucking food truck shit over there. I mean, it
The
was.
Mike's Hard. Did you have to provide like identification to drink it?
I'm pretty sure I didn't go and actually taste it myself. I'm like, it's Mike's Harder. What the fuck? But he had a Mike's fucking hard lemonade before.
Well, come on, bro. You gotta be a Mike, bro.
No. But I'm pretty sure you have to provide ID. Just gonna let everybody go and sip on some fucking alcoholic drink. But I mean, it was funny, just like because the whole time I was there, it's just a whole bunch of motherfuckers, obviously, you know, just walking around, doing whatever the fuck, waiting for the doors to open and all that. Motherfuckers doing all their stupid chants, fucking LA Night bullshit, Ric Flair woos, fucking, you know. It was a good time. It was a good time. He had a fucking Christian protester come over, and, you know, well, you can find that somewhere on TikTok. Yeah, every time he talks, he's just what? But yeah, no. Make sure you get there early. Make sure you get in line early too, because otherwise you'll be all the way down at the other fucking end of the street. When I lined up, and then like once it hit around like 5:30 or some shit, and I looked back, the fucking line was so long, which I guess isn't really a bad thing because by the time you get there, this fucking event will probably start. But it's just like, goddamn, getting through that sea of people to get to your seat and like, or get your fucking, you gotta use the bathroom or whatever the fuck. I mean, there's porta potties like outside the fucking arena, but it's just like, you want to fucking use. They want to go in the stadium and use an actual fucking like urinal, fucking clean toilet seat. But yeah, no. Another thing, those fucking prices are good. $8 for a fucking regular drink. $8 for a hot dog.
$8 for a glizzy is crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
$8 for a fucking Frank, bro.
Looks
$15 for a beer.
What?
Yeah.
It said, "Hold my Bud Light."
Nah, that's gonna make my wallet light. That shit. And I was like, I'll wait. Fuck that. But I mean, aside from that, actually being in there with the crowd when the show was going on, it was it was an experience. It was an experience. Probably won't forget that. Glad I went.
Yeah, I can definitely tell you this. Even though because I've gone back and watched it, when I look back on the WrestleMania that I went to, WrestleMania 34, the actual matches and a lot of the shit on that show, it wasn't like it was like the greatest fucking show ever, but I definitely had a heightened enjoyment of it compared to if I were to watch it in the the default broadcast, just because I was there. I will say this with WWE, as stupid as some of the shows can be, and as dumb as the crowd can be, which you will find yourself face palming if you're, if you have any kind of sex life or a brain. But it is a lot better to be there live, I feel like, than watching the broadcast. I think they don't. A lot of things are done for the broadcast, and sometimes the live audience gets shafted. But I think that being there live far outweighs having to fucking. I mean, yeah, the sitting there and waiting shit's kind of dumb. I feel like that's the whole point of the pre-show or dark matches, to give you something so you're not sitting on your hands for fucking 4 hours. But I just feel like it's a better experience. I know that, and it'll vary, based off of where you go. I know that the WrestleMania they had in Dallas in 2016, they didn't have there was still like 2/4 of the fucking stadium still not seated by the time they went on the air because they were still getting people in. So some stadiums it'll take a little bit to get everyone in and shit. I know in New Orleans we were all in by the time the fucking pre-show started. So it just depends. Your mileage may vary based off of that. But, what I'd also recommend, and what I told Devon, get your tickets closer to the day of the event. Do not pay the outrageous prices that they're charging. Do not buy your tickets from Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster are going to sell WWE's inflated prices. I would get them from SeatGeek or fucking, somewhere like that. StubHub. Even buying them at the box office when you go to the stadium is probably a better choice than buying them online through Ticketmaster. I think that's fucking ridiculous. The prices they were charging for some of these fucking seats. And then in regards to seating too, especially in the stadium shows. In arena shows, you can honestly almost sit anywhere and you'll have a decent view. Yeah, the nosebleeds will be kind of annoying, but I feel like arenas, you're always going to have a decent view of what's going on. I've been in 20,000 seat arenas. I've been in the Kemper Arena in Kansas City for a show that was, I think the Kemper Arena held like a little over 10,000. It was a hockey arena. And those are all fine. But when you're in a stadium, I feel like you definitely don't want to be in the nosebleeds, but I don't think you want to be on the floor. You want to be either in the bowl or you want to be in the club level. And you don't want to be on the hard camera side because you're just paying extra money just to be on the hard camera. If you're a diehard fan and you absolutely want to be seen on television, I guess. But I don't think the prices that they're selling them bitches for just to sit on the fucking hard camera side is worth it. So yeah, I would recommend that. And then if you're going to travel, and this is what I was trying to, tell Devon because I know he wanted me to come out to this. Problem with that is that if you don't book these hotels a whole year out, and I mean a whole year out, maybe even 6 months, the prices on those hotel rooms, when it gets closer to the night of the event, the closer and closer you get, the more you're going to be paying per night. And if you're one of those that is going to be there for Access and NXT TakeOver and the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania and WrestleMania itself and all the other bullshit, you're going to be there for a week. You don't want to be paying $300 to $400 a night. So, I would definitely look into booking your hotel rooms well out, far beyond. It's kind of shitty because you don't know what's going to be on the card. But, I know just recently they put the WrestleMania 40 tickets available for pre-sale. And those prices are fucking ridiculous. And I'm sure a lot of the lower level, ringside seats will be sold. And I'm sure a lot of the, the packages that they offer, the gold package or the VIP package, those will all be bought up and shit. But I would recommend getting your tickets closer to the day of the event and then making sure that you book your hotel really early. If you know someone, obviously link up with them, see if you can stay over at their house the night of, if they live there locally. And then in regards to parking, honestly, I'd tell you right now, just have someone drop you off. Or, in Devon's case, he did take a bus. Do not try to call an Uber or taxi. You'll be stuck in traffic. You'll be fucked. I wouldn't walk unless you're within, walking distance of, the stadium. Although most stadiums are located on, the outside of town towards a highway or downtown. So I don't know if that's something you'd probably want to walk to. But I would definitely recommend that you do that. And then the other thing, if you want the WWE shirts and merch, especially the shirts they're going to be selling at the event, don't buy it at the actual fucking event. They're going to sell those things $30, $40 above what they're actually fucking, worth or what they're retailing on their website or other places. What I'd recommend, when we went to WrestleMania, me and my sister, we bought some shirts at a Hot Topic in New Orleans. Saved a fuck ton of money. I think we got like 2 Ronda Rousey shirts. I got a Nakamura shirt, and Amaya got like this. The only other piece of merch we bought was at the show itself. I got her a drink, and it had like an actual WrestleMania commemorative cup. And that thing cost more than my fucking t-shirt, the Nakamura shirt at fucking Hot Topic. The cup itself was like over 20 some odd dollars. That's fucking ridiculous. So, Yeah, I just recommend getting your shit prior. Make sure you get all that shit planned out. I'll say, like I said, going live, it definitely you'll have a better experience. Definitely temper your expectations in regards to how certain shit will look live. I know that depending on where you're seated at, you may not have a good view of the set. You may think that some things look a lot better than they do. I know Charlotte's pyro when I went live. This is when she was still doing like the little spark fucking pop bullshit up in the air behind her, kind of like the Ric Flair entrance from like WrestleMania 24 or whatever, when she was still doing that shit. It looks really impressive on television. Does not look that great live. Her entrance at that WrestleMania period looked like shit. They had this gold light that on television looked good, but when you're there live, it just looks like shit. You couldn't see shit. It was just so gold. So, like I said, temper your expectations. You'll have a really good fucking time. But yeah, so Devon, that was kind of his experience there live, and there's some recommendations for you. I think that WWE did a good job with the production for this event. I do think that the whole reason they didn't use a third of the stadium was because they couldn't sell that bitch out, which we'll get into when I talk about certain people being draws, because that's another thing that I got receipts for you fucking marks for. But I think they did a good enough job trying to hide it and make it feel good. They mic'd up the crowd quite a bit for the side that was over there. They didn't. I don't think they mic'd up the fucking hard camera side, though, because I saw them sitting on their hands quite a bit, and I do think this show suffered from not only the time, because it went way too fucking long, but I think this show suffered from match placement on the card. I think that a lot of people were already wore out with the big moments that they really wanted before they got to, like, the fucking, the main event. So by the time they got to the main event, they're already fucking sitting on their hands for hours, fucking tired. But we'll get into that. So I guess we'll start it off. I got a fuck ton of notes that we're going to run through here. And the first match was Logan Paul versus Ricochet. Again, I'm not familiar with any of these feuds going into it. I guess the feud kind of centers around fucking Logan Paul and Ricochet wanting to go viral. And that was kind of the story they told in the match, is they wanted to go viral by doing spot monkey flip bullshit. But, it was what it was. Match starts off pretty tame shit. Logan Paul was working over Ricochet with some typical heel shit, playing it up to the crowd. At some point, he hit a neck breaker to the apron. There was some strikes to Ricochet in the corner, kind of like boxing him and shit. Michael Cole mentioned the stupid fucking titanium plate in his hand, which... Say this with Michael Cole. I think he had one of the better calls of his career tonight in the Brock Cody match. But as good as some of his calls were, some of this shit was just fucking diabolical. So, I every time I give this man praise, it's like one step forward, 3 steps back. Crowd's getting into it. They're chanting, "You suck," to Logan Paul. He then hits a running power slam, which I guess was a subtle nod to Ricochet's tag team partner, Braun Strowman. In fact, Michael Cole had said that too. I noted foreshadowing because I knew that Braun Strowman wasn't there, but maybe he was going to show up and cost Logan Paul the match. Obviously, that was not the case. He then hit a big boot and a leg drop a la Hulk Hogan, which he called the Hogan Paul, for a near fall. He trolled with the Hogan pose down. Ricochet hit a spine buster and then set up what would be the People's Moonsault, according to Corey Graves. But that led for a near fall. They both go over to the ropes, and they set up what's supposed to be a Spanish fly to the outside, which is already a dumb spot to do from the apron. And they botched it, but they were able to recover. They landed on their feet, kind of, because one of them had landed on their knees. I think it was actually Logan that did. And then they both just kind of stood up and then hockey fighted and then hit another Spanish fly. Again, one thing with this match is I feel like you could have took like 10 to 12 moves out of it. And it would have been far better. They threw a little bit too much. Then they fucking, they go inside. Logan tries a springboard buckshot lariat to the outside. But he didn't really get all of it. He kind of didn't even really land on his feet. He had to kind of pick himself up to get it. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy he's trying shit like that, but it didn't look good. Corey Graves actually called it an STO, which I thought was interesting. Logan Paul went up top and hit a diving crossbody inside the ring, as well as a standing moonsault for a near fall. Again, at that point, you just did a diving crossbody. You don't need the standing moonsault. I know fucking Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is fucking rolling in his... I mean, he's not dead yet, but he will be rolling in his fucking grave with shit like that. At that point, I started noticing I said, like, the psychology of this match, any little bit of it, or the story of it is kind of falling apart. At this point, instead of trying to, tell any kind of a decent story or have some decent psychology, it's just spot fest. Logan Paul went for a spear in the corner, and he hit the post. Ricochet then drags Paul up top and hit a top rope neck breaker, which, again, the psychology on that's a little suspect, but again, they're doing big spots. Devon said some fan had an interesting reaction near him. Would you say that fan said, Devon?
Oh my god, that's fucking diabolical.
Well, what do you say? Come on.
Nah. We'll leave that shit in. We're gonna leave that shit in Detroit. We're gonna leave that in Detroit.
Oh, shit. Ricochet then hits a springboard back elbow and starts, I noted, I literally put begins comeback animation shit. Because he was just doing so many things. I was like, fuck it, it's comeback animation. He then hit a springboard clothesline, and the crowd's excited for the spots as they've been sitting on their hands for a while. For those of you that don't know, a lot of those people, like Devon mentioned, went there early. And even if they didn't, they got there at fucking, let's say they got there when the doors opened. Doors opened at 5:30. Show didn't start until 7. Well, actually, 8 o'clock their time.
8, yeah.
Yeah, so they're sitting on their hands for 2.5 hours looking at nothing. In fact, a majority of the crowd, I'd say all of them, probably couldn't even see the round table with the shucky ducky, quack quack, moment of the night. They couldn't even see that because that was carted off over behind the curtain that they were hiding the whole third of the fucking stadium with. So they had nothing to look at for a little over 2 to 3 hours. So in that regards, to get the crowd fired up, it didn't take much, and you just do a whole bunch of spots. That's where this match placement wasn't terrible. It's probably where I would have put it as well. But it definitely, they were kind of sitting there through that match at the time. They were getting a little exhausted. It kind of gave them something, they were looking for something to go crazy over, and that gave them something to go crazy over. Because they've been sitting on their hands for quite a while. So, is what it is. I said, not a great story being told so far. Not the greatest psychology. Logan Paul goes for a moonsault, but was caught by Ricochet. And then Paul ends up hitting a tornado DDT while on Ricochet's shoulders. Kind of a cool spot from Logan Paul. Again, dude's a freak athlete for his size and for, what everyone thinks of as a YouTuber. Dude is a really impressive athlete. I'm telling you right now. This dude could have been, if he would have put all of it into, professional sports back in the day, I truly feel like he could have played some kind of sport. I mean, this dude's got hops. He, I don't know how fast he is. We don't really get a chance to see his speed. I'd like to think, he could run a decent 40 time. But for someone that big, he's a pretty good fucking athlete, which I'd noted. Ricochet hits a code breaker, and then he signals it's time for the next false finish, is what I put. Because he's signaling that it's time for the 650 or whatever the fuck. So, but that wasn't even what he went for. He went for the shooting star, and Logan was able to get his knees up for a near fall. They get back up to their feet. They go through a few sequences, and then Paul hits him with the flapjack. And then he goes for a springboard frog splash from the ropes, decently far away, too. Ricochet was on the other side of the fucking ring again. Pretty good leaping ability from Logan Paul. I was impressed. For a near fall, though. I noted at this point it's just an all-out spot fest. I said guys need to slow it down, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Ricochet hits a super kick, and then he does that go to sleep bullshit where he does the fireman's carry into a fucking drop kick to the guy's head. And then he goes for a Death Valley driver. Look like shit. And then he did a springboard moonsault. And after that, I was like, oh, that's got to be the finish. Like, you just did a fucking go to sleep drop kick thing into a fucking Death Valley driver into a fucking springboard moonsault. Like, the crowd's going crazy. It's got to be the finish. Nope. Ricochet then signals for the 450. Although he didn't go for it earlier because, fuck all. Misses the 450 from Logan moving out of the way. Logan's still selling the effects of all those moves that he just ate, because he just ate like 3 to 4 moves in the span of a few seconds, so I did like that. Logan's friend, as he's selling and his arms draped over the ropes, gives him a pair of brass knuckles. The crowd's booing because they can see this on the Jumbotron. Unless you were sitting in the on the floor and you had to look over to your left and you were asked out. And he hits Ricochet with the knucks for the finish. The referee dived as if he was going to get his head taken off. And that was it. So Logan Paul's your winner. I don't do match ratings. So, and I do great on I actually have standards still. So, most people might give this like 3 stars if they were to rate it out of 5. But I wouldn't even give this 2.5. That's average. I feel like 2.5 is average. I do feel like this is a below average match in the sense of, psychology and storytelling and the shit that I look for in a wrestling match. But for a opener to a show and, with the spots they were doing and everything looked clean for the most part, there was a few botches. The entertainment factor was there. As much as I don't like that, it's not presented right, it was still at least entertaining. So for that, I would have probably given it like a 2.5. It was probably average. Really good show opener for people that were sitting there waiting for like 4 hours. So that's what I got. Devon, what are your thoughts on it?
Going being there live, I liked it much better live because obviously I was sitting there waiting for I don't know how many hours just for see these motherfuckers wrestle, and the crowd being into it and doing their chants and all that shit, getting me fucking into the match or whatever. But watching it on the broadcast at home, I think I liked it less.
Yep. Tell you what, do you know what this reminds me of? Is there was the opener for that WrestleMania I was at was a triple threat match for the IC belt. And it was The Miz, Seth Rollins, and Finn Balor. And I remember watching it live thinking like, oh, this is cool. This is a good opener. And then when I watched it at home, I was like, ugh, this is kind of fucking spot fest.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. So, again, you're going to look at it differently when you're there live for sure.
Yeah. It's like that for a lot of shit on the card. It's actually the next match. It's actually the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like it live, but I liked it better on the broadcast.
Yeah.
It was okay. I mean, being there, it was good because, I fucking frothing at the mouth or something. And I see all the fucking spots and flippity flip bullshits, and I got the, fuck you, Logan Paul.
Yeah, the fuck you, Logan chants.
Yeah, fuck you, Logan.
Yeah.
Prime sucks dick.
I think they were saying fuck Prime or something like that.
Yeah,
There's like a fuck
Prime. Prime sucks dick. You still suck. This nigga was doing I think he did the buckshot lariat to the outside. A dumb fuck Corey Graves called STO. Fucker, you still suck. It was great. Good shit.
So after that, yeah. So after that, we had commercials because even though it's a paid show, it's a premium live event. You still have to eat commercials, which altogether probably took up like 10 to 20 minutes on the show. But this was the first of many. Was a shitty cricket commercial with Bianca Belair. After that, they showed Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes arriving in a monster truck. Or I think it was just Sheamus. I don't know. It made no sense. They weren't even in a featured match. They were in the fucking Battle Royal. They didn't really do shit. I don't know why that was necessary, but we're in the Motor City. So we got to show that. We couldn't get the Motor City machine guns. Couldn't, but we can get the goddamn monster truck. Yeah! Get in the monster truck. Yeah, it would have been made more sense if he'd rolled up in like a fucking Ford GT or something, but you know. All right, so then after that, we do get the second match on the card, which I thought would, in my notes, I literally put this fucking early. I was like, this must be a fuck finish, or a squash is coming, or just some bullshit. Like, I was not expecting, which I think plays a part into why I enjoyed it so much. But I was not my expectations for this, just from it being the second match on the card, were lowered exponentially. And I already had kind of low expectations for it, because even if they were going to go all out, I didn't think they would top their match at Extreme Rules or whatever the fuck. Or, what was it? Extreme Rules, or was it Backlash? Backlash. Yeah. So, and I did watch that. I didn't watch the rest of that pay-per-view. I did watch Backlash again. Devon told me, he was like, oh, it was a decent show. And I went back to watch that because I wasn't going to watch the Bunny Destroyer. So I didn't have the biggest expectations for this. I thought, okay, it'll be a nice, wrap up to a package or a setup for a new feud or something. I was thinking, okay, because they keep talking about in the video package, he's going to embarrass Brock Lesnar. So I'm like, okay, is this going to be a squash, get him the fuck up out of here? Is it going to be some fuckery that moves Cody into his next feud? Is this going to be like, just something? I was not expecting a 20-minute barn burner. That was not what I was expecting. But I've mentioned that I said it was kind of a waste, regardless of what they did, for this kind of feud that got probably the most television time, next to the Bloodline shit, out of any of the other matches on this card. I feel like, if you're going to invest that much and you put that big of an investment into this match, I would have thought it would have had a better featured, spot on the card. Especially, you don't want to put it after your opener that you just got everyone excited. You got to bring them down, but not too far down. I think that would have been a great spot for the women's match. Mm-hmm. But no, that's not what we got. So anyway, and that was the other thing I noted is someone injured, because typically, they'll put a card or match up early if they want to get someone out of there, someone's injured or something like that. But anyway, there was a nice video package. Some people are calling it a love story video package. I don't fucking know. Fucking people on the internet, bro. Anyway, Brock comes out to a huge pop. I think him and Cody got easily the biggest pops of the night in regards to like coming out in entrances. I think the biggest pop of the night was probably when LA Knight won his match, but we'll get to that. I know that Brock looked like a fucking $1,000,000. Brock definitely looked like a fucking destroyer. Someone was definitely rubbing the baby oil on him backstage. He was drenched. And he came in there and, was ready to go. Cody got a decent reaction at first, and then it got crazy. I feel like what fucks his entrance up for that initial pop that you're listening for is they pop for the, wrestling means everything to me. And then the music kicks in, and then they pop for that, because that's when he actually comes out on the stage, adrenaline in my boat, whatever the fuck, they start popping for that. And then motherfucker starts singing the song. So it's like a weird reaction when he comes out, but he definitely has the most people getting into it. If you look at the camera on television and you see all the people on the floor, see all the people on the back, you see all the people everywhere, most of these guys, when they come out, they're not really doing shit. But with Cody, yeah, he had all the people in Detroit. They were going crazy for Cody.
Oh yeah. Hey, look, I'll be admitting when that motherfucker came out, saying the whole shit. Saying the whole shit. Couldn't resist it.
So yeah. I did note that most fans had their phones out after the initial pop, and they weren't. That's when it got quieter, and I was like, oh, because they're waiting for the stupid wow, so they can put it on TikTok and wow, fucking stupid. I'm telling you, like I said, if you have any amount of a sex life or brains, or you can't stand bullshit, when you go live, that's the kind of shit you're gonna have to deal with. I'll tell you what, I heard a lot more of the crowd than I usually would watching the television broadcast, because in this particular case, WWE, I don't know how long they've been doing this, because I didn't test this out for WrestleMania, which was the last live broadcast I watched before this. But they actually allowed you to have 5.1 audio And so a good chunk of the crowd, they use a little microphone to pick them up to give you that surround effect. And so I was able to hear quite a bit. So that's why I was getting annoyed, because I'm hearing the people. I'm hearing them talk. I'm hearing them, all the stupid little conversations, all the bullshit. And they're all just sitting there like, yeah, bro, yeah, here we go. Whoa! So I hear all that shit. Like, these motherfuckers are sitting there waiting to go, whoa! So they can put it on fucking TikTok and be like, I gotta do the wow. Do you hear that? Hey, Billy, gotta do the wow. But anyway, I don't know. I know it shouldn't annoy me. I'm just a fucking asshole, but I don't care. Anyway. So then, I said, because I literally noted right after that, I said, God, I hate fucking modern wrestling fans, which I do. Fuck y'all. But thank you for watching. And then big pyro for Cody. They made him easily. He was the biggest looking star on this show, even though, you know, Logan Paul and Ricochet had just came out. They're definitely making him look like he's $1 million. And the match starts, and Cody immediately jumps on Brock. Brock hits a German suplex. Cody fucking, it looks more like a scrap, like the scrap of a fight, like when people are kind of scrapping in the beginning. It doesn't, so it's not that they're not selling, it's just kind of like they're eating each other's shit, scrapping, trying to beat the fuck out of each other at first. Cody hits the drop down uppercut, catches Brock off guard, and then goes for the springboard leg lariats. And on the third one, because Brock wouldn't go down, on the third one, Brock smacks him out of the air like he's a fucking fly. And then Brock starts doing the shoulders in the corner to wear him out. And then, but Cody was able to, fight him off and throw him outside and then hit a suicide dive. Cody's suicide dive didn't look terrible, but I'll say this, especially when we get to the Seth Rollins match. They gotta stop doing the suicide dives. They gotta. I'm sorry. It's done. It's toast. It's cooked. Most of these suicide dives look like shit.
I think literally every single match that's been on that card except for Ronda and Shayna had a suicide dive.
Yeah.
Or at least two in it.
And my thing with the suicide dive is, it's supposed to look like you're turning your body into a missile and you're trying to drive yourself right through this motherfucker. It's not supposed to look like they're catching you. I mean, yeah, that's what they're doing, but it's not supposed to look like that. It's supposed to look like you're just trying to, you're getting all this momentum from running off of the ropes, jumping through them bitches, and you're trying to fucking just put your shoulder straight through that motherfucker's chest. That's not what it looks like with a lot of these guys. It looks like they're just doing some flippity-flip bullshit. So, they need it. It's got to go. Even Cody's, although it didn't look the worst I've seen, because there was way worse ones, it still didn't look that good. It's got to go. It's got to go. It's cooked. Get out of here.
Better start learning how to do some topes or some fucking.
No, don't get them started after that, because then all the big fucking people are gonna start doing topes and shit. Gunther's gonna try to hit a tope and break his fucking neck. Yeah, he's gonna break his fucking neck.
Oh no, that splash is already nasty enough. We don't need to see Gunther doing a fucking tope or a plancha. Fuck that.
And I noted after the suicide dive, I noted they're going a little fast, but it's because this story kind of warrants a brawl and it's kind of a scrap. But it was decent selling, though. It wasn't like they were just like getting dunked on their head and then immediately getting back up. Brock rams Cody into the post, takes Cody back inside and hits like an overhead gut wrench where he just like grabs him with his arm and then just chucks him over his fucking head like he's a fucking ragdoll. Looked great. Cody sells it for a little bit. Brock, they get back up, and Brock hits him with the overhead belly to belly. Cody then starts throwing elbows to Brock. But Cody's selling it kind of like he's a little dazed, but he's throwing elbows. He's fighting back. Good facial selling by Cody in this match. And Brock cuts him off, though. Says, get that weak shit the fuck up out of here. Kicks Cody in his ribs and his back area that he's attacked with the suplexes and everything. And then he begins attacking Cody's midsection again in the corner. Hits him with a vertical suplex for a near fall. First near fall of the match, I think. Yep. So think about that. We were probably watching the match for 5 minutes without a near fall. Who would have fucking thought?
Woo!
Just for the other wrestlers out there. I know. What do I know? I don't fucking wrestle, but, I mean, goddamn, you don't need 20,000 fucking kickouts in a goddamn match. I undervalues everything you fucking do. Do you really think I'm gonna fucking be like, he hit a neck breaker? Oh, this could be it right here. Hey, Devon, he hit a neck breaker. No, I know it's not gonna, because you all have fucking ruined that. Granted, it was already kind of ruined fucking years ago, but at least with that, you know, because people were getting beat with normal moves and because the kickouts were few and far between, you had people biting on that shit. I remember when Kane would hit a sidewalk slam, like, Jim Ross would sell it as if this could be the end. He'd be like, by God, sidewalk slam! That could be it! That could be it! And I remember Jerry the King Lawler, I don't know what match this was, but Jerry the King Lawler was on commentary and he was like, look, JR, it's just a sidewalk slam. And fucking JR was like, but that's by the 300-pound big red machine. That's no ordinary sidewalk slam. And it's like, you're like, oh shit. And then so when like whoever the fuck gets hit with it kicks out, you're like, okay. Like that, if you don't fucking sit there and just kick out of it, like 5 million kickouts in a match, people will remember that shit. But anyway, Brock goes for a single leg takedown, which when I saw that, I'm like, oh my God. If these guys were in a real fight, Brock would fucking rape him. It wouldn't last that long at all. It would have been very fast. Brock smash, he'd open his butthole and just go to town. Like, it would have, this motherfucker Brock, bro. But he goes for a single leg takedown, pounces on him on the ground, gets up, has this evil smirk. And then Cody struggles to get up and he hits him with a release German suplex that looked fucking disgusting. Hits him with another release German after Cody was able to get up. Cody's selling and now he's on the outside. And he's looked like he just got shot out of a fucking shotgun. Like he's toast. Cooked. And then, Brock said, fuck that shit, because Cody gets back in the ring. And Brock said, all right, you're going to get another fucking release German, bitch. And then fucking Germans him again. Throws him outside again. The ref starts counting. At this point, I thought Brock was just trying to wear him down. And that was his strategy. But no, they were actually telling the story of Brock was, he didn't want to kill this fucking kid. But he wants to put it into it. And he, because I guess like they're still trying to keep Brock face. Which was an interesting decision. It was definitely interesting. But Brock's telling him, he's literally yelling down at him. He's like, stay down. Save yourself. Save yourself, kid. And then Cody, is struggling to get back up. He gets back up, comes in. I'm like, is this Brock showing mercy? Why isn't he going out there and beating the fuck out of him? So, and then Cody gets back in and Brock gets a little frustrated. But he picks him up and before he does, he said, it's only going to get worse. And then he hits another German. Throws Cody out of the ring again. And keeps telling him, save yourself. Cody's selling this amazingly. He's doing a great job. So he gets back in the ring again at 7. And Brock's like, all right, bitch, come here. And he fucking short arm clotheslines that motherfucker right back out the ring. And people are getting restless because they want Cody to come back into the ring, which that's the heat. Al Snow has a great breakdown that he shows to people when he talks about, psychology and telling a story in a match. And he's like, when he's talking about a boxing fight and he's like, you see this guy getting hit with the right hand the whole fight. And you're wanting him to not get hit by that right hand no more. So the second he moves out of the way and hits that guy with the right hand, that's the heat. You're not going to get it's not going to get any bigger than that. That's the payoff. So they're setting up the heat in this match as Cody being able to get back in the ring and overcome the odds. Beautiful fucking storytelling and perfect setup for a babyface that you're trying to get over. At the same time, protecting Brock. So but people, like I said, they're getting restless. They want Cody to get back in. Story's working. Brock said, fuck this shit after Cody got back in. He's done showing mercy. So he goes outside and he F5s Cody to fucking hell. Gets back in the ring and he's acting like it's over. He goes to walk out the other side of the ring. Michael fucking Cole starts selling this as if, he's telling Cody, like, just stay down, save yourself, think about your family, think about your career, stay down. He's gonna maul you. Again, making the people at home want to see Cody get back in there and beat this fucking Brock Lesnar fucking bullshit all the way to hell, right? So, and ref, even though it takes him to the count of 9, Cody finally gets back in, and you're just like, oh God, but you know, you're happy he got back in, but then the sheer horror comes across because Brock gives you this fucking, which mind you, we laugh because Brock's facials are fucking stupid, but you see Brock get all angry and he's like, oh fucking bitch, and he turns around and then it's grits for that nigga because then he throws him out and he F5s him through the fucking table. And you're like, oh, I mean, you know, I'm sure most people would predict that Cody was going to get back in, but you're like, oh, this ain't looking good. This ain't looking good for Cody. And he's selling it like he's barely alive. Like, he's selling it like they need EMTs to come out there. And then Michael Cole, again, even more. Just great job on commentary. He's telling the story great. And like I noted at this point, they're not really going for a technical Masterpiece match. They're not going for a Spot Fest match. They're trying to tell you a story to get him over and have Brock come out of this just as good as he went into it. Which is what pro wrestling's supposed to be. Fucking, you know, goddamn, this is when he notes even more, like, Cody, just stay down. Cody gets back in the ring at the 9 again. And he's still in it. Brock, at this point, sells disbelief. He's got his hands on his hips, and he just can't believe that he's back in. But then that disbelief, again, Brock has such good facials. He goes from, like, disbelief to anger. He's like, how the fuck do I get this little fucking... He's like... It's kind of like in Rocky 4 when fucking Drago goes back to the corner because he can't put away Rocky because his trainer's like, what are you doing? Put him down! And he looks at him, he's like piece of iron. He can't go down. I bend him, but he won't break. So it's like Brock's looking at this motherfucker like, what the fuck do I gotta do to bend that iron? Love that. Fucking Cody tries to fight back because Brock's beating the fuck out of him with strikes, but he's barely there, and Brock throws him over his head with the belly-to-belly. Brock then Germans him, and Cody, but he was able to grab onto the turnbuckle pad, and it rips off. Brock didn't see that. I noted foreshadowing. Cody tried a desperation. They go outside. They tried what I thought was a desperation steel step spot, but Brock stops him. And then Cody attacks Brock on the post and hits him with the steps. And I'm like, no disqualification?
Yeah, what are we doing? I saw that live. I'm like, this wasn't advertised as no DQ match. I was like, what's going on here?
Well, they're just doing all the count outs. That should have gave it away. Like, if you're going to count them out, then it's... so it's stupid. Yeah. But, they, you know, all that aside, they go back in the ring. Cody's got Brock on the ropes after hitting him with the stairs in the post, which, you know, looks believable because in a real fight, he would probably have to do some shit like that to rock Brock to have a chance to beat him.
We'll see it on Botchamania.
And, oh yeah. And then he hit a springboard Cody cutter for a near fall. Crowd is going fucking batshit at this point. And I said, gee, I guess selling and telling a story beats Spot Fest, huh? Because the crowd is easily... This is the most I've seen them into a match since probably Cody and Roman at WrestleMania. Cody then goes for a crossroads, but Brock counters with the Kimura lock. Again, continuity. Playing a part from their last match where he was able to break his arm or whatever the fuck. And Cody was in that hold for a while, and he's selling it like $1 million, and you're thinking, this might be it. And then Kevin Dunn spoils it with the camera angle shot. They need to get rid of that. When you give me that camera shot, I know every time he's about to grab that shit. See, whenever they tap in the ring, they have this camera shot that kind of shows the whole ring, and I know they're about to tap. But when you show the shot where you're underneath the ropes, and the ropes are right there, and you can see the guy's hand, how far away it is from it, I know that motherfucker's grabbing that shit every time. Live, it may have looked a little better, but I don't think that they need to get rid of that shit. If you're going to do a submission, and you're going to tell the whole, oh, is he going to get to the ropes? Quit spoiling it with the fucking production miscues. That's dumb. But, you know, neither here nor there. Cody fucking gets the ropes to break the hold, which he did struggle to do. You actually, like, touched him, but then, like, Brock kind of cinched in, and then Cody had to, like, throw his fucking hips over just to grab that bitch. I did like that. Cody, or fucking Brock's now selling like he's fatigued. He's drenched in sweat. That's the HGH, mind you. The sweat and the fact that he looks like a plum. That's human growth hormone. But, you know, it is what it is. Brock's on the juice. I don't care. And he's selling his abdomen and his head from the blows that he took. So, again, good selling from Brock. And Brock goes for an F5, but Cody escapes and throws Brock into the turnbuckle. And Cody applies the Kimura lock. And so they're kind of recreating spots from Backlash and then doing a new twist on some shit. That was cool. Brock's facial selling in the Kimura lock was great. Really sound like he's about to tap out. He's acting like he's in excruciating agony. Brock slams him, like dunks his fucking head into the goddamn bullshit to escape. I said kind of a miscue of psychology for Cody to use a Kimura with his arm supposedly hurt. Because remember, his arm was supposed to be damaged from the Kimura lock that he had just got prior. Because Brock had him in the Kimura for all that time. So his arm wouldn't be able to do it, but whatever. Brock then hit an was going for an F5. But Cody counters into a crossroad. And then hit 2 straight crossroads to follow. For the hat trick. And gets the win. I said great story was told. Goddamn. And not a technical showcase or a spot fest. Not the greatest psychological showcase in the sense of attacking a limb or making it look like a believable fight. Although there was some really good psychology in this match. But it was a solid match. It did its job. It told us a really good fucking story. Made Cody look like a million fucking bucks. Brock didn't come out of it looking like a bum. And if I were to give it a rating, out of like 5. There's no way you could give this match 5 stars. I don't even think 5.5 is the right rating. I could see some people overinflating it and making it like 4.25. I would probably give it right around the fucking 4 to either 3.75 rating. It was really fucking good. It was easily the best match on the show. One of the better matches Brock's had in a very long time. I think the only other match I had from Brock that I enjoyed this much and this iteration of his WWE run was probably the match he had with AJ Styles at a Survivor Series from, I believe it was from 2017. Really good fucking match with him and AJ. But aside of that, this is some of Brock's best work. But post match, Brock, his trunks were tore. I don't know where he tore them at. Probably in one of the crossroads spots. I don't know. I don't know, but. His shorts are all torn up.
His shorts were split for like a good portion
good
of that
minute.
match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might have been from I don't know where he would have did it at.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
I'd have to go back and watch it, but I don't know where the fuck that would have been at. But post match, Brock's taking his gloves off, which if you've been paying attention to Brock for a while, whenever he does that. That's Brock's indication of, I'm about to fucking shoot on this guy, right? So everyone's listening to, you could hear the crowd audibly groan because they think like, oh, this isn't over. And, but Brock comes up to him and he gets in his face. They have a little stare down and then Brock kind of like thrusts at him like a little dickhead and then reaches his hand out to shake his hand. And then, they shake hands and he holds Cody's hand up, points him at all 3 corners of the crowd and they get out of there and send everyone home happy. I said hard to fucking top that. Maybe the main event will, but I said definitely a fucking great moment for Cody. He was definitely elevated from this. Brock Lesnar did not, it didn't feel like he was downgraded. I will say in this grand sense of Brock hasn't won much lately, and he kind of, after losing clean to Roman and Cody now, I feel like if you want to get that, Brock in the main event scene still, or you want him to be able to put guys over, he does have to win matches still to be a credible threat. So maybe the next program you put Brock in, make sure he comes out of that shit on top. But outside of that, Brock looks really good coming out of this too. So, hard to top that. But Devon, what's your thoughts on it?
Like I said, it was one of those matches where live, I wasn't into it at first. Cody getting the shit beat out of him, thrown out the ring. Having to sit there and wait and wait and wait and wait and just wait for that comeback is just agonizing and redundant. But the commentary on the broadcast and having seen them up close and them, because it's different when you don't have that commentary there live. And you just have to sit there.
You didn't get to hear Brock screaming, save yourself. You didn't get to see the facials on the guys that well.
Yeah. So it was just, that helped a lot for me to appreciate it on the broadcast as opposed to live. So that's why I said earlier it was like a complete 180. I enjoyed it. Got Cody his big moment. Puts this to bed. Hopefully, I fucking hope so.
Hey, they said that it would look. Here's the thing with WWE. They did say the saga ends, but they also said that Rock and Cena was going to be once in a lifetime. Granted, we should have known that was bullshit because it happened on April Fool's Day. So, hopefully they're serious this time. I don't see where you go from this.
Yeah, right.
But you're not going to end it any better.
No. But it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed the psychology. Enjoyed. I don't know. There's something about Cody Rhodes putting him in the person here. They just always you put him against a guy like Brock Lesnar. I mean, it's going to be impossible for him not to look good. So.
Yep.
And being there live, getting to sing that stupid Flux theme song. Hearing everybody in the fucking show.
Wow!
And then they kept fucking doing it after the match. He's going out, shaking the hands of everybody, kissing the babies, fucking
literally
turning water to wine. Yeah, turning water to wine, walking on thin air. Yeah. It was cool. It was cool. I'm glad I got to experience that.
I don't know where you go with Cody from here. I think I told
Devon. I think he just goes into a program with Seth Rollins, I think.
No. What I would do, I think, because I don't know if this is what they'll do. That's why I said I don't know where they go from here. But if I were to do it, I think what you want to do, because you don't want to get him in the title picture yet. And you don't want him anywhere near the Seth Rollins belt. Because you want him with Roman.
Oh, yeah.
They're on separate brands. But what I would do is you have a number one contenders match or something. And it's for a shot at either the Seth Rollins belt, although I wouldn't do that, but you could, because he's ultimately not going to get it. Or you could do it he has a shot at Roman's belt. And maybe who's the general manager?
I don't think they're doing general managers.
Anymore? Okay. Because what I was going to say is you could do like, hey, if you want to come back to SmackDown, we're going to have this number one contenders, tournament or a match or whatever. After your victory over Brock Lesnar, you deserve that spot. And someone feels shafted by that. And I think you just have Cody, look like he's about to win that match, and then someone cost him his fucking chance at the title. Because, again, he's wanting to finish the story, and he was going to get this close to being able to get a match against Roman to finish the story. And but he didn't get that because someone cost him it, and that leads into a feud with him and that person. And you could stretch that out to Survivor Series.
They're already kind of planting the seeds for him on the road to Roman Reigns anyway. Because, last night he cut the fucking promo or whatever. He was like, he was like, I was talking to my mother. She was like, boy, didn't you realize Brock Lesnar acknowledged you? Throwing shots at Roman. Brock never acknowledged him. They're building towards that road to Roman Reigns again.
I would not do him and Roman, though.
No. They're not going to do that.
He cannot touch Roman until WrestleMania.
They're obviously not going to do. Yeah, they're not going to do that till WrestleMania. I think that's pretty obvious.
Like, I don't want them brawling. I don't want them touching each other at all until WrestleMania, or at least in the sense of I don't want Cody to get any kind of revenge against Roman whatsoever. If you want to have some physicality, Roman's got to sneak attack him or some shit whenever you get to that point, but you want the payoff to be him beating Roman's ass. And if you get that before then, even if it's only for a little bit and he gets cut off, it ruins it. So keep him far away from getting any offense on Roman. But I would just, if I'm WWE, put him in a fucking match with Finn Balor or something, and or someone like that for a shot at the title or some bullshit, and he gets screwed. Well, no, you can't do that because Finn Balor's gonna have a feud with Damian Priest. It's looking like. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know where they're gonna go, but I would have them keep him in the title picture, but don't actually let him get the match. Screw him over and give him another feud that will carry him to WrestleMania. You're kind of building him as the year goes on. He's trying to finish the chapter. He's trying to finish the bullshit. So that's what I would do. I don't even know if I give him the Rumble. I almost feel like he should get cheated in the Rumble. Like, it looks like he's about to win that bitch, and he gets cheated there. And he has to the only way he gets a ticket to go to WrestleMania is by winning, like, an elimination chamber or some shit. Like, so if I'm Cody, I just keep giving him these feuds that get him to there and build him up. And then I just screw him over every time he gets this close. And then when he finally gets there, you get the big payoff. People will throw their fucking babies in the air, and everyone will be fucking happy. Yeah. So, but after the Brock and Cody match, we got a Payback and a WrestleMania 40 trailer. Don't like Payback. It's not been it's been a terrible pay-per-view consistently.
That's where it all started for Roman.
No, that's where we got Blue Tista. That's where we got the John Cena burial of Bray Wyatt. It's where we got a whole bunch of diabolical shit has happened on some Payback shows. And,
the tribal chief.
No.
Oh.
It's where we were robbed of, I feel like Payback is kind of where Brock, or maybe it was Battlegrounds, I can't remember, but Brock in 2015 coming out of that goddamn WrestleMania against Roman with the whole Seth Rollins cash-in was by far, he was up there at some of the most over baby faces I've ever seen. People were fucking going fucking batshit every time that motherfucker came out. And he was beating up all the authority figures and getting suspended, which was how they were kayfabe, getting them off TV. And it was looking like when he had a match against Seth Rollins at that, I think it was either Payback or Battlegrounds in 2015. And it's looking like, okay, this is going to be Brock getting his revenge. You knew there was going to be a fuck finish because Seth Rollins is going to keep it because they're not going to change the belt there. But people really wanted that match. And, I feel like with that match, it works better with Brock as the fucking face instead of the heel. Because we did get that match and Brock was the heel and it was fucking lame. But that would be years later at WrestleMania 35. It was the fucking opener. So I was really hoping that, at that time that match would have been really good. Especially because Seth Rollins is by far like one of the most over people in the company at that time. Before they ruined him with the chicken shit heel shit. And we were robbed because The Undertaker came out and kicked that motherfucker in the nuts. So we had to go back, rewind a year to go, fucking finish that feud. Which just fucking stunk. But at least the matches ended up being good. And the feud ended up being good that we got. But I really fucking hate that because after that, Brock's face run was not the same. He lost a lot of steam from that shit. And so I really hate that we were robbed of 2015 face Lesnar. We did ultimately get a little bit of glimpse of face Lesnar and like with the whole, cowboy hat return bullshit. But I'm telling you, man, Brock as a face is a lot of fucking fun because he reminds me of like Stone Cold, where he's more of a tweener. And when he's a face, he's always been over. Always been like getting huge reactions. So I was pissed about that. So Payback, not a great time for me. Not looking forward to that one. So, fuck that. No. We also got a Becky Lynch video package. Yeah, again, they cut that out of the network broadcast, but we had it there live. And I noted time filler, really? And then they announced that here comes the Slim Jim Battle Royal. I said, oh boy, the Slim Jim Jobber Battle Royal match.
Yeah.
Or otherwise known as the LA Knight Showcase, because this is literally put on the card for him to have a fucking moment without actually having him beat anyone, because they're already struggling with heels as is. If you have them beat a heel right now, that they don't got any fucking heels worth the fuck, it's going to look dumb. So how do we showcase them without hurting anyone on the roster, since all of them are kind of in fluff right now? I know. Fucking put them in a battle royal. And that's what they used to do back in the 80s, too. You had some big name talent you didn't want to beat clean, but you wanted to showcase a guy, like a Jim Duggan or something, but you don't want him beating your Macho Mans or your Ricky Steamboats or something like that. Put them in a fucking battle royal. And that always worked. So it made sense. It's old school booking. Again, that's kind of something that you notice with Triple H. So when I saw that, I knew this was Triple H booking. So, because that's all he did in NXT too. But goddamn, it was Vince. It was Vince. But anyway, Big response for LA Knight when he came out. Most guys got a jobber entrance. There was only 2 entrances. It was AJ and LA Knight. LA Knight came out first, which I think was kind of dumb, but whatever.
You're forgetting about the Miz.
Oh, well, no, because we didn't get a whole entrance. He was basically already at the ring when we came back.
Oh, yeah, because live, I guess we saw.
He got the jobber entrance also.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
He's a jobber. People don't give a fuck. Oh, my bad. He's a Mike. Yeah. But, big response for LA Knight. I feel like it would have been a lot bigger had the last match not been there where people were throwing their babies in the air. So, fucking, he would get a better pop at the end of this match because people had time to kind of cool down. But again, that's poor match placement. You gave them 2 matches in a row where people are going batshit. They're going to start losing their energy that they bottled up for like 4 hours. And then you're going to give them one of the biggest payoffs that people were looking forward to on this show. And after this match, I mean, the crowd was fucking dead. And so I think piss poor fucking match placement on WWE for that. But fucking anyway, we get a Slim Jim ad during LA Knight entrance, which I was like, that's not I could already see like JD from MY getting pissed about that. He couldn't even get a fucking entrance without a fucking Slim Jim ad. And right in the fucking middle of it. It's Vince McMahon booking that is the problem with LA Knight. No, it's marks like you that are the problem with LA Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we get a Battle Royal video package, which I guess Devon said they didn't play live. And was there on the live broadcast, at least for the pay-per-view, and it's on the network replay right now. It's kind of cool, I guess, showcasing some of the history of the Battle Royals, although The Rock and Austin's promos were about fucking the Royal Rumble, which I just thought were interesting, because it's like some of my favorite promos from them, because Austin was talking about, I'm going to build up this beard belly, and I'm going to start taking some sorry fucking sons of bitches, and I'm going to throw their carcasses right out the ring. And then you had The Rock talking about, I'm going to throw those sons of bitches right out the ring. All their candy asses. 1, another elimination. 2, throw that candy ass out the ring. 3, it's a Royal Rumble promo that they were doing, but whatever, fuck it. It's Battle Royal. And we got some iconic shots from like Macho Man when he was in Battle Royals and shit. It was cool. It definitely fit in with the theme of Slim Jim and Macho Man. I actually wasn't mad at the presentation of this, although the Slim Jim graphics and the WWE marketing graphics during matches are fucking distracting. It bothers me. You don't need to go that far with it. Literally, they could just have like a Slim Jim watermark at the bottom right where like the WWE logo is, and that's all you need. Like, you don't need to go so far as to literally change every LED in the fucking bitch to display whatever you're fucking marketing. I remember Austin Theory came out and he had that Beyblade fucking video game footage all over the fucking arena, and it's like, that looks so tacky.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be advertised to when I'm watching a wrestling match. I'm sorry. If you want to, like, have, like, a little, like, and tonight's match is brought to you by Stacker 5 or Lugs. Like, that's different. But don't fucking, like, literally have the ring engulfed with Skittles or Mountain Dew Pitch Black. No. Mountain Dew Pitch Ass!
Oh
no, trash.
This is really good flavor though.
No, it's fucking diabolical. Now, I'm missing some eliminations here because some took place off of television. But here's the order of eliminations that I got, and the people that did it. Oh, my bad. My apologies. Before the Battle Royal would begin, MVP would be on the mic, and he was going to introduce Omos. Omos came out and joined the Battle Royal, and I'm like, oh, okay.
You mean Omos?
Omos? Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Which I guess, there was someone sitting next to Devon that went crazy because he was apparently marking out for Omos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The whole section was pumped for fucking Omos. Oh, yeah.
People in Detroit love their big, tall black men. What? they thought he was like, they probably thought he was Ben Wallace. Yeah, Ben, get him.
Oh my god.
Oh shit. But no, so fucking Omos comes out, and before he can even get to the ring, they started fighting, which I thought, okay, whatever. Omos comes in, starts chucking motherfuckers out, and he threw out Apollo nudes. He threw some midget out, which actually ended up being JD McDowell or McDonald or whatever the fuck.
JD McDonough.
JD Old McDonald had a farm. Get the fuck out the ring. Yep.
Oh.
And Bingo was his name-o looking ass. All right. And then Rick Boogs. Rick boo his ass off the stage because he's trash. He was eliminated.
Oh.
The Brawling Brutes tried doing the 10 beats of the Byron or whatever the fuck to Omos on the ropes. Looked like shit. Omos fought him off and then eliminated. He was eliminated, or Otis was eliminated by one of the members of Imperium. Then Vinci was eliminated by Gable. The Viking Raiders, both of them were eliminated by Tommaso Ciampa back to back. I don't know their fucking names. I know one's like Ivar or some bullshit.
Yeah, Ivar and Eric.
See, there's no way in God's green earth I would have remembered Eric. But anyway, then fucking the Ciampa is eliminates Nakamura by kicking him and hitting him like a DDT or whatever on the apron. And then Bronson Reed eliminates Tommaso Ciampa by picking him up with like the world's strongest slam bullshit and slamming him on the fucking turnbuckle and then dumping him over the rope. Audible boos for Tommaso Ciampa's elimination, but nobody would end up caring shortly there afterwards. Austin Theory eliminated Ridge Holland, and then he threw out Cameron Grimes, which thank God I wrote that guy's name down because I damn sure wouldn't have remembered who the fuck Cameron Grimes is. Santos Escobar then eliminates Austin Theory, and then Karrion Cut Your Fucking Hair Cross eliminated Santos Escobar. Yeah, no. Karrion Kross looks like a goddamn fucking steroided up homeless CM Punk. Just cut that fucking hair, bro. You look fucking terrible. Get the bald look back. Put the stupid contacts back in. Usually, that's literally all you have is a look and an entrance anyway. At least just keep that shit. You look like a fucking homeless indie wrestler that took steroids. Just turn it off, bro. Chad Gable then eliminates Kaiser, who, I'm not going to lie to you, I think is a member of an Imperium, but I don't know who the fuck that is.
You know who Ludwig is? The fucking...
I don't care about Imperium.
Not the bald one, the other one.
No. Oh, the fucking... the fuck that sings... what's that guy's name? The guy that used to sing for Rusev? Aiden English. You said...
Aiden English?
You said Aiden English 2.0? Wish.com Aiden English? Okay, yeah, thank you.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Rusev Day! Good time! This is the same shit.
Okay.
Yep. And then Omos eliminates both Matt Riddle and Butch and throws everyone around in the ring. At this point, Omos is over with me for life because he got rid of those two dumb fucks. And then LA Knight tried to eliminate Omos but ate a big boot. It's the first time the crowd booed since Tommaso Ciampa got fucking eliminated. And then fucking Bronson Reed, Karrion Kross, Sheamus, AJ Styles, and then I just said fuck it and stop trying to list everyone. Just said everyone's hitting finishers to Omos. Everyone just had their 2K finishers at the ready and hit that motherfucker with them bitches, and then they threw him out. Huge missed opportunity. I would have ended the match with Omos and LA Knight. That's what I thought they were going to do initially. If it wasn't going to be AJ putting, LA Knight over or Nakamura, some big name star, I thought it was going to be Omos. But instead, we got Jobber Sheamus. We'll get to there. Anyway, Gable then puts an ankle lock on the Miz, and then with Grayson Waller or something like that, helps Miz hit a skull crushing finale where he like jumped in the ring. It was kind of a cool spot. And then they, Miz tried to eliminate LA Knight. But then fucking LA Knight did the whole Shawn Michaels holding on to the bullshit, and then he eliminates The Miz. And then Sheamus eliminates Grayson Waller. Bronson Reed attacks Sheamus and LA Knight. And then AJ Styles eliminates Karrion Kross. I think Bronson Reed got eliminated there too. Yeah. Oh yeah, he gets eliminated next. He gets because he eliminates Chad Gable, and then goddamn Bronson Reed would get eliminated by LA Knight, a la Chris Benoit from the Royal Rumble 2004, where he had put a front face lock on the Big Show and then kind of like crawled underneath the rope. Should have did that to Omos, and the crowd would have been throwing babies in the fucking air when he fucking won. But you know, whatever. Instead, he gets rid of Bronson Reed. Let's see here. The Miz was eliminated by LA Knight. Oh yeah, I already said that. Then we get to fucking the final three is AJ, Sheamus, and LA Knight. AJ is eliminated by Karrion Kross holding his leg and then Sheamus attacking him or whatever the fuck. After that, fucking LA Knight slams Sheamus down and hits I called it the Wish.com people's elbow. LA Knight then escapes the Celtic Cross after, hitting that shit. And fucking throws Sheamus over the rope. I thought that was going to be the finish, but no. Then they work each other over and go up to the top rope. Sheamus hangs on the... What the fuck? LA Knight escapes Celtic Cross, throws Sheamus over the rope. Sheamus hangs on. They go up top. LA Knight belly to belly from the top rope. Sheamus gets up and LA Knight clotheslines him over the fucking rope. Michael Cole says some cringe ass, we're in Detroit. He's got the LA Knight moves. And LA Knight wins and people were going fucking batshit. This is a fucking battle royal. Wasn't really anything fucking special. Not any memorable spots. Which is kind of lame. Like, that's the one thing about a royal that you're supposed to do is everyone gets their shit in before they get thrown out and you get some creative spots. Really, with battle royals, it's up to the agent of that battle royal to come up with some good spots, which is why the Rumbles were always good, because the person that came up with all the spots for the Rumble, the agent for the Rumbles, was Pat Patterson. He was the guy that fucking invented the goddamn match. Without Pat Patterson, you've started to see the Rumbles are just getting generic like this. This felt like a fucking Royal Rumble, but just a very shortened version of one. So, is what it is. I don't want to say it got LA Knight over. It's pretty much the same reaction he's getting before. It's not like it did anything for him. It just gave him something to do on the card without beating someone. Yeah. Although at this point, it's not like they're losing anything by having him beat anyone. Because I think all the fucking people on the roster are trash to begin with. So, no, I don't care anymore. So, should have just had him get a clean win over a fucking heel. I guess maybe their thought was there is no heel that is strong enough to get him over. More so than he already is, so they just kind of gave up. I don't know with LA Knight. The verdict's still out on him with me. I've seen a lot of flash of the pan gimmicks in all this time that I've been watching WWE, especially since like 2012. Literally every WrestleMania for like 3 or 4 years. People were just sitting there singing people's theme songs and shit or chants from 2012 to like goddamn damn near like 2016 or some shit. Literally everyone. Well, hold on, because like literally after fucking what was it, the 2012 one that was the Rock and Cena. Everyone was sitting there chanting fucking yes, yes, yes for Daniel Bryan, and he got over. And then in 2013. Which was Rock and Cena 2 at New York. Everyone was doing the Fandango shit. And then fucking in 2014, everyone was, I think it was like Cesaro or something, got over, and like everyone was doing a stupid little punch bullshit. And the giant spin, because that was like new at the time, the giant fucking thing or whatever. And he had just spun like the Big Show or whatever, like the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at that WrestleMania that year, which was the first time they did it. So, like, again, that was like, it was Cesaro, and then it was Rusev in, like, 2015. Everyone was fucking singing his stupid fucking theme song. And then Rusev would get over again, and the Mania I went to, throughout the entire Mania, people were fucking chanting Rusev Day. And people were pissed because they only had, like, across the entire stadium, like, 2 or 3 merch booths. And even outside, they only had, like, 2 or 3 merch booths that had Rusev Day shirts. And everyone was pissed because they wanted to buy them. So, yeah, it's always a flash of the pan thing. Kofi Mania. Kofi Mania was indeed not running wild. This just all this shit. There's always someone that this shit happens with. Big E could have been different, because I think he legitimately had the charisma and the talent. I think he was more over organically. It wasn't like a sing-along chant.
Yeah.
But Big E got hurt. But it kind of did feel like a flash of the pan thing with Big E at times because people were already kind of starting to revolt against him after like 2 to 3 months of his title reign. So it's like, I don't know anymore. We'll just have to fucking see. I don't hate LA Knight. I do think that he needs to come up with more original content. Yeah, I think Kevin Nash nailed that shit right on the head that he's just a fucking Etsy.com rock. But there's something that, what was this? Disco Inferno had said on his podcast, which never in my life did I ever think I would agree with Disco fucking Inferno.
Disco
Fever. Yep. But yeah. But Disco Inferno, he had said something to the effect of, because he was talking about that, because they were talking about Kevin Nash's comments, and they were like, no offense to Kevin, but if he's gonna rip off anyone, wouldn't you want to rip off one of the guys that's the most over we've ever had? And when I looked at it like that, I was like, well,
yeah,
that's a good point. Instead of ripping off these Japanese fucks that don't draw a dime, he decided to rip off The Rock. It's smart. So, kudos to fucking, kudos to Disco Inferno. He made a good point. So, we'll just have to see what LA Knight does. Hopefully he comes up with, some more original content. The shit is only going to last for so long. It's a flash in the pan thing. I mean, The Rock had so many different catchphrases that he said because that's kind of how The Rock got over, was literally from catchphrases. And so when he did that shit, he had to change it up too. Because like his first one was the whole fucking, know your role, shut your mouth. And then that shit kind of, that started to fizzle out. So then he started doing the you Rudy Poo candy ass. And then that started getting over. And then that started to fizzle out. And then, you just had to keep coming up with new shit. I know at one point The Rock even came up with one where he literally just stops what he's doing. He goes, how's your lips? And he's like, and the guy just looks at him funny. He's like, now how's your lips? Yeah, because I'm going to smack them right off your fucking face and shove it straight up your candy ass. So it was like, so yeah, but the Rock, like, he always came up with some different shit. So hopefully LA Knight can figure out some different shit. Hopefully he can work on his in-ring work shit, because even there, it's not bad, but it's nothing particularly special. It's kind of, reminds me a lot of MJF and The Miz and shit like that. They kind of work all the same.
It's funny, too, because he's feuding right now with The Miz.
Yeah.
And they had a promo on, was it Raw? And he kind of they had a promo exchange, whatever. And he, tripped up on one of the, he was saying something. He fucking tripped up. But, the people are like, this is a 10 out of 10 promo. From both of these guys, they're cooking. Let them cook. I'm like, okay, you're gonna listen to that, and we're gonna see if it's 10 out of 10. It's gonna be after we do finish up with this. We're gonna have you watch that.
Yeah, well, I got pretty high standards for promos. I will say, tripping up in a promo does not make a promo bad, though. The most infamous promo that I think is one of the best. It sold people on a wrestling match that I don't think people knew they wanted. Was a match between Hulk Hogan and Mr. McMahon. And there was a promo they cut. And they tried to make it like personal into real life shit. And Vince says a line that to this day I think sold that match. He was like, because Hogan thought that Vince hated Hulkamania. So he goes, I don't hate Hulkamania. I hate you, Hogan. You testified against me on the trial of my life. And when he said that, and they show in the video package, like, Hogan on the stand during the steroid trial where the federal government was about to put Vince in prison for like 20, 30 years. Hogan did indeed testify against him. And he lied under oath. And then he talks about, and you walked out on me, Hogan. You went to Ted Turner and you tried to put me out of business. That actually fucking, and so you're starting to wow, you can see where Vince is coming from, but then you can also see where Hogan's come from, because he's talking about, how many other guys did you give the ball to, and they couldn't do what I did, brother, and you disrespect me and my family and all this and that. And so both guys have a legitimate gripe. And so then, that match was sold on that promo. But here's the thing. That promo has an infamous botch in it, where fucking Hogan literally goes, and I wish I was joking, he was like, if you think that I was just the right guy at the wrong place at the right time, then you don't know what you're talking about, brother. There was a botch like that in that promo, and it still people came out of it talking about like, oh wow, this promo was fucking amazing. So if you're giving people shit they can actually bite into, then people will still like it. But if you're fucking, even if there's a botch, but if it's a fucking just a random ass fucking run of the mill fucking bullshit promo, which I can tell you right now, it probably is. Then yeah, people will not remember this shit even a month from now. People still remember some of these fucking promos from years ago. So I have a pretty high fucking standard when it comes to cutting a promo, because a promo is literally made to sell a match. If anyone wants to watch the art of cutting a promo, they need to watch a video that Paul Heyman did with Inside the Ropes, where he was talking about the infamous shoot promo that he cut on Vince to sell the Survivor Series match between the Invasion or the Alliance and Team WWF. It was at the very end of the Invasion angle, and people stopped giving a fuck about the Invasion a long time from now, right? Pay-per-view buy rates are going down. WWE's viewership is going down. This is the end of 2001. Shit has hit the fan. People do not like this Invasion angle. And they're sitting there on an airplane, and the story goes is Michael Hayes is like sitting there, and he's like, you know, Vince, because they tried to have Mick Foley cut a promo where he shot on Vince or whatever, and called him an evil piece of shit and all this and that on an airplane, and no one gave a fuck. Like, it just did not go over well at all, right? Partly because Mick is just too much of a nice guy in real life that he just couldn't cut a promo like that. So fucking, and plus most people don't know how to do a shoot promo. Because it was one thing Paul Heyman went into is people don't want to hear you come out there and be like, I know you're cheating on your wife and you got a fucking cum in your boot or whatever the fuck. People don't care about stupid behind the scenes bullshit like that. They want something that they want to see a fight. They want to see a fight. So it's like, what was it? Not Terry Taylor or something like that. Used to always say it was like, this is how we sell a wrestling match. I come out there, talk shit about you and your wife. You say you're not going to let me talk about your wife like that. I come there, beat your ass, you beat my ass, and we make money. People want to see people feud over something that could actually be in a real fight. So Paul Heyman's tasked with, because Michael Hayes goes, well, Vince, if you want someone to cut a shoot promo on you, little Paulie over there, he'll rip your asshole yay wide. And so fucking comes to SmackDown. A lot of people think this was scripted or Vince went over it with them beforehand. Nope, Paul Heyman said he went up to Vince. He was like, are you sure you don't want to know anything that I'm going to say? Nope, just make me money. And he was like, but Vince, there's make me money. Yeah. And he was like, but Vince, there's some pretty spicy shit up in here. He's like, will it make me money? He's like, yeah, then make me money. That's all Vince cared about. So Paul Heyman had this thing where he was like, he wanted the central theme of the promo to be about pro wrestling versus sports entertainer. Pro wrestling versus sports entertainer. And he wanted to hang on to the fact that Vince, this is a line that he wanted to hang on to, that Vince turned wrestling into a dirty word. That, wrestling, turned it into a dirty word. And that he ruined everything that his business stood for and stole all his ideas and drove him out of business. And he went against what his father said. This is another thing. He brought his father into it, which is a big no-no. But because of how well this promo was, Vince didn't care. So fucking, he brought his father into it because in real life, Vince agreed with all the other promoters that, no, I won't try to put you guys out of business. I won't try to take your talent from you. Because back then, all the promotions kind of worked together. Well, Vince lied. He even promised his dad. He was like, no, I won't put them out of business, Dad. I won't steal their talent. And then he went on to do that. And so he's talking about how he's kind of ruined the wrestling business, ruined everything he loves, everything all these wrestlers love. And the Alliance is going to stand up against the WWF for wrestling. So that way he's like, people may not care about this angle, but there might be some people that are listening to this and they're like, yeah, I like wrestling. I don't like sports entertainment. He did make wrestling a dirty word. Fuck that guy. I'm going to buy that pay-per-view. And I'm going to root for the Alliance. So he did that. And guess what? Survivor Series ended up turning out the biggest pay-per-view buy rate of that year. So if you can find something to hook the fans onto And you don't just come out there and just shoot, because he could have just came out there and said a whole bunch of dumb shit about Vince. Like, I know you're having an affair and you take steroids or what, because that's how most shoot promos are. It's just a whole bunch of dumb shit. He came out there and found a way to attach it to a central theme and pointed it back towards the pay-per-view. That's the big thing. Because everything he's talking about, he pointed towards the pay-per-view, because he was like, after he said all that shit, he was like, and at the pay-per-view, the Alliance is going to take wrestling back from you. And that's why when people saw that shit, they're like, the Alliance has got to win. So that's how you fucking cut a promo. So if I watch that fucking shit and it's just The Miz and fucking, okay, I'll give you a comparison. When John Cena and Roman Reigns sat there spewing a whole bunch of bullshit that they stole from, people's podcasts like me, where he said, people think I have this mythical golden shovel. Or whatever the fuck, like Cena said that. And then Roman was like, everyone thinks you're a phony and that you suck. Yeah, thanks, Roman. Yeah, everyone doesn't think the same thing about you too, buddy. Huh? The pot calling the fucking kettle black. And then John Cena called him a fucking, a corporate fucking modernized copycat version of him or some shit. Yeah. Gee. Like, it just sounds like some stupid shit. We don't care. Why do we care about you guys fighting? That's what it should be about. So, if I watch the fucking Miz and goddamn, LA Knight, and they're just sitting there and, you're just a fucking rip-off version of me. You're just a flash of the pan. You're just this and that. No, 0 out of 10. That is not a good fucking promo. But that's all it takes to get people excited nowadays, is that by, repeating rhetoric that they hear online. And then they're like, I know good promo. He even said it that he's like The Miz. He said it. Remember, we always say he kind of wrestles like The Miz. Well, guess what? He even said it. The Miz said he wrestles like the copycat version of him. When CM Punk cut that promo, where he was like, you're the third best Kingston I've wrestled against, or whatever the fuck. Or the fucking, and then he talked about how Dean Ambrose was the third best guy in his group. And that's a common theme for him. People in the AEW crowd were going, oh! And I'm like, I don't care. Why do I want to see you fight? Like, that's stupid. Like, but that's all people want nowadays, is just like fucking, what's that damn show where people used to fucking, there was like Yo Mama, and they sit there and go back and forth ripping each other. That's all people want. That's all they want in a promo nowadays, to think it's good. And that's also because they don't have to worry about dropping $60 on a pay-per-view. It's $5 or it's free. So, back then, they had to get you to try to spend $60 to watch that shit. And that's also how a majority of the wrestlers got paid, which, by the way, I'll put a fucking link in the comment section on YouTube. There's a video you guys absolutely have to check out. Maven from WWE, which some people may remember or may not, because he was a fucking jobber that came from Tough Enough. Maven, he was on the first Tough Enough. He was the first Tough Enough winner back in 2001. Maven made a video about how wrestlers get paid in the WWE. And I kind of knew how it functioned a little bit. And I'd heard, some of the wrestling podcasts, and they talk about it. But to hear it from a guy like him that was that low on the card, it's a little more interesting, because you only really hear about what the big guys make. So I would suggest people go watch that video, because they do the same pay scales to this day. And I want you to see why the network has ruined what these guys make money-wise. Also, what they make from their fucking, their goddamn, they get for the, royalty payments. They don't make anything in royalties now. Maven used to make, like, I'll spoil this. In the video, he talks about his royalty payments, and he showed how much he used to make in royalties from DVD sales and shit like that. And he would get those checks in the month, even though he wasn't fucking employed by the company anymore. He would still get those royalties. So even though he's retired, he's still getting, like, $2,000 checks every month from those DVDs and shit, which is still pretty fucking good. Like, that's pretty crazy. I don't even think it was just $2,000. I think it was actually more than that. I think he was getting like $10,000 or something like that. So, $40,000 a year and you're not even wrestling is pretty fucking good. Well, then, you know what those royalty checks are now because of the network, and they don't get compensated for the network. You know what he got? His most recent royalty check was $300. Mind you, there's some guys that were in wrestling in the 80s that they were wrestling before the money got there, because it wasn't like big money back then. So they're living off of those royalty checks. They're living off of $300 a month. You know, and them doing appearances, and that's why they're still wrestling at 80 years old. Some of them don't even get their royalties because WWE has finagled a way to get them out of it. So, you know, when you look back at it, you know, that's why these guys nowadays, they don't have to try that hard anymore to cut promos because they don't have to worry about living off of that shit. Because pay-per-view, that's where you would make your money and doing shit like that. That's why I said, go watch that video and you will see why wrestlers aren't incentivized to turn that extra leaf on these pay-per-views anymore, because they're going to get paid the same amount no matter what the fuck happens. Whereas back in the day, these motherfuckers had to literally, if they didn't draw a house, it was all about the live gate. They didn't draw a house, they weren't going home feeding their children. And that's why everyone worked as a team. Because fucking the top guys are going to keep the bottom guys fed. If The Rock and Austin aren't selling out the arena, everyone else is going home hungry. So that's something to put in perspective when you think about that shit. But we've gone too far off topic. Let's continue. I'm glad, you know, because we're not going to spend much on this next match anyway. Because this is, and I'll say it right now, probably one of the worst things, top 10 worst things I've ever seen in a wrestling ring in a long time.
I think this is the worst thing I've seen in a wrestling ring, period.
Oh, that, trust me, there's way worse, and I'll get it. Don't worry, folks. I'm going to show them.
I haven't seen it yet, but right now,
I'll tell you one. There was a kennel and a cell match where they had dogs in the Hell in a Cell. It was like a kennel match with Al Snow and someone or whatever, and the dogs were trying to attack them, and instead the dogs end up just going outside the ring and shitting all over the place and humping each other.
Oh my god! What?
Oh yeah, there's some diabolical shit. Trust me, I've seen some stupid shit. Right? I've seen some stupid shit.
For me, this is as bad as it gets right here. Well,
no,
it'll obviously change later, but this for me is
this is one of the worst fucking in its top 10. The reason being is because I've seen better fucking fake fights and fucking indie fucking movies. I've seen fucking better fake fights in MMA with Dada 5000 and fucking Kimbo Slice. That fake fucking scripted ass bullshit MMA fight. I've seen better fake fights in all over the fucking place. We already all know it's a fucking work to begin with, and you're gonna sell us on a fucking fake fight. I'm supposed to care about a fake fight inside of a place that already gives me fake fights. And then you're not even gonna get the MMA rules right. Motherfuckers get ejected from the ring, the match isn't over. The motherfucker goes slump and is down on the ground, that's a KO. But nope, apparently these motherfuckers can get right back up. They're not even trying to apply a hold correctly. Ronda's not even going for wrist control when she puts the armbar on. She didn't even try to judo throw this bitch and put an armbar on her. Fucking, Shayna put the rear naked in wrong. Fucking, just everything about it was so terrible. And they sat there for 9 minutes. 9 minutes. The whole segment took up like 15 minutes of television time. From the video packages to the entrances to the post-match to the match itself. This has got to be one of the worst things I have ever seen on a pay-per-view. One of the worst things that I've ever seen with the talent, with the star power such as Ronda. I know her star power has waned ever since she came to this shithole company. But it is dead now. No one gave a fuck. A fraction of a fuck. Every section in that arena, I didn't even have to be there live. I could tell you was dead.
Hey, look.
People were walking to the bathroom.
Hey, look. I didn't even have to use the bathroom. I just had to get up and not watch that match. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's what I walked into. That's why I bumped into
People were
old
walking
girl.
To go to the bathroom and eat food, and they didn't give a fuck. I was watching a TikTok, and people were just sitting there on their phones looking at Twitter.
Yep.
Like, motherfuckers was done. They were sitting there trolling on Twitter during the match. Not gonna lie, that one pissed me off, because it's like, okay, y'all could just boo or troll the match, take over the match, and let the company know it's trash. I'll give them this, at least they didn't do that, because then they'd be giving them a reaction, and then Michael Cole could spin in on commentary and talk about, well, No matter what you think about this feud, at least it's getting a reaction out of these Detroit fans. So I'll give them that. And they did the right thing that I've been preaching for years. But to sit there and troll on Twitter, it didn't help either. Because then they're going to talk about, and Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler is the most talked about match in the U.S. right now. Fucking stupid. I think what would have been funny is if every single person in the building just collectively got up and went to the fucking bathroom. Every single one. That would have fucking killed me. I'm not gonna lie. Because then how do you shoot that? Like, imagine, no, that's what they should have did.
Nah. Everybody flooding over to the main concourse.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be diabolical, but I'm just saying, can you imagine how that would have looked from a production standpoint? They would. There's no way.
Just imagine the whole floor section getting up and leaving, bro.
Yeah.
That fucking diabolical. Because you can't spin that. You'd have to shoot over.
That's the problem, though. The whole floor section wouldn't leave. Green shirt guy would still be there.
Yeah.
Green shirt guy be there smiling and shit still.
Oh my god.
But yeah, no, this was easily one of the worst. I mean, this doesn't please MMA fans. This doesn't please real fighting fans of any kind of combat sports. This doesn't please any WWE fans. This doesn't please Ronda Rousey fans. I'd be hard-pressed to see how a Shayna Baszler fan was excited over this, unless they're about to obliterate a school later. So, this is probably one of the worst things I've ever seen on a pay-per-view. I mean, people will point to the Judy Bagwell on a pole, or the monster truck match with Hogan and the Giant.
At least with the Judy Bagwell on the pole, man, I had fun with that.
You know, the match was good. It just
yeah.
She was on a forklift, or the mud pit match, or the no. I mean, there's some stupid shit, but none of them at least tried to advertise it as a real fight with MMA rules. Hell, right off the bat, the presentation was all fucked. For one, yeah, they're in a wrestling ring, whatever. We've had MMA fights in a ring. But they're wearing boots. This ain't Pride. And they never told us what MMA rules we were getting. Are we getting the fucking standard, athletic commission rules here in the States? Are we getting the Japanese rules where I can punt kick a motherfucker when he's down? What rules are we getting? What kind of MMA event is this? Is it just MMA? Or was it a judo match? Was it... Because you have to specify that too. Kickboxing is technically a form of MMA. It's both boxing and kickboxing. That's mixed martial arts. Therefore, you could call kickboxing a MMA match. So, this everything from a production standpoint before they even rang the fucking bell was annoying the fucking shit out of me. I mean, my notes. I was just the ref wasn't counting when the people were down, so they're not using like boxing rules where you count to 10. Like, they had nothing. This was just two bitches coming out there doing some fake looking fighting moves on each other, and then one slapped on a shitty looking rear naked to get them the fuck up out of there. Worst women's match I've ever seen of all time. No, it's not. That match in TNA between Charmel and that bitch from Survivor. Minus 5 stars.
I thought we finally had a successor.
This one's close. This one's minus 4 stars. The other one's minus 5. But that trust me, that match is way worse. At least that match had structure. But
at some point, we will get a stinker worse than fucking Charmel and fucking.
Ain't happening.
I'm sure it'll happen at some point.
That match was so bad. That motherfucker, what's his damn name? Brian Alvarez, to this day, is like a fucking living meme to this day. It would never escape that. Motherfucker really sat there marking out in 2009 talking about minus 5 stars. I don't care. It was terrible. Fuck that. Worst match I've ever seen. And I thought he was overplaying it. Like, I thought, to a degree he was, but it was bad. I'm not gonna lie. He got that. He ain't lying. That shit was terrible. They did not belong in the ring. These are two people that don't know how to... It literally looked like people that are trying to wrestle, but here's the thing. The bitch from Survivor didn't know how to wrestle at all. I don't even think she's ever watched a wrestling match.
Oh, God.
She's just a reality TV star. So she did not know what this was. I don't even think they choreographed it with her. I don't think she knew what to do.
No.
She was just reacting as if this was real, because like it looks so bad. Like I'm telling you, it has got to be. If you ever want to watch a match that was worse than this, check that out. It's from some TNA pay-per-view. Just look up. It's Booker T's wife Charmel, who she also was. She's wrestled, but she's not a wrestler. She's valet, and she wrestles this bitch from Survivor, which is a reality TV show. And, because Dixie Carter got her hard on over D-list celebrities. She was like, oh my God, we got Tiffany from Survivor? Oh my God. Like, I remember she was freaking out when they got the motherfucker from Jersey Shore. Like,
Snooki?
No, not Snooki. They got Benny or whatever the fuck.
Oh.
So, like,
why?
Because to her, any people that are on TV are just amazing and famous, and oh my God, it'd be such a great fucking thing for TNA to have them on. She didn't care if they were D-list, C-list celebrities. She went nuts over them and threw the bank at them. Hulk Hogan's daughter had a reality show called Brooke Knows Best. It was called Brooke Knows Best. It was Hulk Hogan's daughter. And I remember they gave her a gazillion-dollar contract and a record deal. Because she was doing music at the time, they thought she was going to be a giant superstar. Plus, Hogan was there, and they thought it would please him. Hogan did not want her with the company. And they signed Brooke Hogan, and they didn't know what the fuck to do with her. They lied about the record deal. She was getting bounced checks, and Hogan had to come up to the people and talk about, hey, brother, what's going on with my daughter's payout? Like, it was awkward, and fucking... By the end of it, they just threw her in random storylines like she was Bully Ray's wife and the Aces and 8 shit. Oh, it was terrible. But that's Dixie Carter. That's why that match was so bad. They just had random fucking D-list celebrities. Just if you were on TV, you were good enough to be in TNA. That was it. Didn't matter if you were on a show that had like 2 people watching. They'll put you on. So, yeah, no. It was bad. But yeah.
I can't wait to talk to you after this.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to talk to you after this.
Oh, boy. Listen, hey, look. Fuck, I'm done with women stinkers. I'm done with this shit. Fuck Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Fuck whoever put that match together. Fuck the agent for that match. Yep.
We need to get fired now.
Need to be fired now. Whoever put that whole thing together, that shit was one of the worst things I've ever seen in wrestling. I feel disgraced as a wrestling fan for having watched it. I feel terrible as a Ronda Rousey fan of her MMA days to see her relegated to this bullshit. I wish she would have never signed with the company. Wrestling fans have been nothing but disrespectful pieces of shit. They can't make their mind up, and she didn't know how to be a heel, which I'll give that, and Ronda deserves criticism for that. But at the end of the day, I feel like her run was sabotaged by the fans. And her run was sabotaged from her development. And I feel like her development was bad because she didn't want to put the time in because she hated the fans. Because she started off really strong. I just look back on it and I'm like, wow, 5 years ago, I was there for her debut match. And people were throwing babies in the fucking air. Now, they're falling asleep.
Her final.
Yeah.
Her final stinker.
And I hope she doesn't wrestle another match ever again. I don't want to see her go to AEW. I saw people talking about that. What if Tony Khan can get her in AEW? Please, for the love of God, no. I don't want to see her and Chris Statlander and fucking and Tony Storm and fucking Dr. Britt Baker, and I don't want to see that. It'll be fucking terrible. Like, I'm good. It's over. It's done. It's cooked. R.I.P. Ronda Rousey. Thank you for your MMA years. Your wrestling run at the beginning was fun, but I blame the fans. I blame her development too. She deserves criticism. She didn't develop right. She didn't know how to accept. That's one thing Ronda's never been able to do, even in her fucking MMA years. She doesn't know how to be the heel. She doesn't like being hated. She doesn't like when people talk shit about her. She thinks that she should be an idol or a role model to fans. She's not. I don't look at her as like a narcissistic prick either. Like, she's pretty fair with most of her takes. I remember someone asked her a question about women's pay. She was in Australia. And she could have total big started and, bragged about her pay or whatever. like most people would have did. But they were asking her, they're like, the Australian soccer team is not getting paid the same as men's. What do you think about that? And she was like, well, the only reason I'm making the money I am is because I'm putting butts in seats. So if the Australian soccer team wants to make money, they need to put butts in seats. It's only fair. She didn't say that to, like, take shots at him. Like, everything she's always said, she's well-spoken. I've never had a problem with Ronda Rousey. I just... Is what it is, man. She just can't take criticism very well. You have to understand, she's not used to losing. She is a gold medalist in fucking, judo. Her whole life, she was like... Look up her... Like, you need to listen to a podcast she did with Joe Rogan. Her life was not a normal life as a kid. If you ever heard of Jeanette McCurdy and the shit she had to go through with her parents, it's a very similar situation with Ronda Rousey, where basically she didn't have a social life. She didn't have anything. She was doing this judo shit for the Olympics. She wasn't allowed to eat anything year round. Like, she had to have the perfect diet and was just putting her body through all kinds of hell for her family. And so when she finally, got into MMA and made all that money, it was like a weight lifted off of her shoulders. Like, I'm telling you right now, fucking, she is an inspirational story to people like that go through that shit. I hate to see what she's went through with this fucking shitty fucking company, but it is what it fucking is. That's on her. Like I said, she doesn't take criticism well. She didn't develop, I think, because her head wasn't in it, because she was pissed about the fans treating her like shit.
Yeah.
And then that's how she was in MMA. When the fans started to revolt against her for winning, she used to get pissed at the fans, talking about, what's your fucking problem with me? She didn't understand how to take online criticism or, fans' criticism very well. She doesn't know how to do that. And you definitely don't tell wrestling fans, fuck you and your fake wrestling, because that's part of the reason wrestling fans hate her. She obviously doesn't mean that. She grew up as a fucking wrestling fan. Huge Roddy Piper fan. Fucking, she was watching indie wrestling. She knew who CM Punk was back in, like, 2000 and fucking, like, 2 or 3 or something. They're friends that long. Like, she, because, like, he was wrestling on the indies and shit. She's a big wrestling fan. But I don't think she knew how to handle the wrestling fans and how they react. So, and that's on her. She should have done better. Development-wise, I feel like she just stopped caring. She didn't try to grow her psychology, or she didn't try to work on her moves. She got complacent. Started kind of being like how Brock was for a stretch there, where he just didn't give a shit and just did the same shit. So yeah, her run stalled out for those two reasons, and it sucks to see it. So, R.I.P. Ronda Rousey in your wrestling run. Hopefully you do best in whatever your future endeavors are, and enjoy your WWE trash bag you're about to get. Yeah, the future endeavors trash bag. Love to see it. Yep, moving on. No, and Shayna Baszler, you need to...
She needs to... Her. I ain't gonna lie.
That's what I'm saying. She needs to find whatever agent put that together, and she needs to fucking beg that agent to pay her back for the money she's lost in her career, because she's about to get in future endeavors fucking bag before too long, too. I'm going to tell you right now, by the end of the year and next year, she's going to be working dark matches in the Saturday night main event house shows, and she's going to get her future endeavor.
If they want to build her back to a credible star, they're going to have to do what they did that one year with the Elimination Chamber, where they had her steamroll everybody, but they can't do that again.
No.
They can't get away with that again.
You can't book her as a credible star. It's not... Here's the problem. She ain't got no way on the roster to beat that's going to make you care about her. And you have to have people for her to beat before she gets to the champion. There's no one in the mid-card in the women's roster right now that you're going to give a fraction of a fuck. And she can't just go out and beat like a Charlotte or something, because without being built up, otherwise that's going to hugely devalue a fucking Charlotte or something. So it's like, at this point, she's going to have to find something that the fans connect with, like a catchphrase, or she's going to have to do something that gets her over. Something she does in her matches, just something. But I don't think that's possible, considering she's been there for years and no one still gives a fuck. Her whole run has been ruined. She was thrown in tag teams with no explanation. I mean, wasn't she tagging it up with like 6 different people?
Oh, Shayna? Yeah, because I remember one time she was tagging with like Nia Jax.
Yep. Like Tamina Snuka. Fucking all them bitches. Like, it... No. I think she was tagging it up with Natalia.
Oh, God. No, I think that was Sonya.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Like, it's just pack it up, bro. Like, I don't think there's nowhere she can improve. I also feel like that the rest of the women on the roster have kind of eclipsed her, except for some of the under ones, like the undercard, mid-card ones. But even then, in terms of popularity, I feel like think about it. Liv Morgan has got more attention from the fans than she does.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You're never getting in Liv Morgan's spot. That's gone. Asuka, any of the top ones. Hell, the Io Sky, Bailey. I think Tegan Knox has more of a fan base than that bitch.
Hey yo. Chill out.
I'm
Main
just
event Tegan Knox is crazy.
I'm not saying main event. I'm just saying in general, like more people would probably care during a fucking Tegan Knox match than fucking Shayna at this point. Like, or Candice LeRae.
Oh no! Well, I think they're starting to put Candice LeRae back out there.
Yeah, so it's over. It's over.
I think she needs to.
Yeah. If anything, I guess the best thing for her to probably do if she wants to continue to make money and enjoy her wrestling run is to go to AEW. Even though her matches will be fucking terrible.
She's got what's her name? Maria Shafir.
Who the fuck is that?
They were buddies back on NXT.
Well,
Maria Shafir, whatever the fuck her name was.
Go over to AEW and get
buddies.
over with those fans. You'll build an audience back up. WWE will see that you're making shit and you can come back. And maybe they'll book you, sometimes you gotta leave and show that you're still a star.
Drew McIntyre.
Well, look at Drew McIntyre. He did it.
Yeah.
He was cut. His career looked like it was over from 3MB and all the diabolical shit they did with him. And he went out and he got over and he got a physique and he improved in like all facets of from where he was at. Signed him back and then he won over Vince with his looks and he got pushed. Maybe Shayna needs to go out there and put some muscle on. You're already. I'm not trying to pick on her, but she's not a very attractive looking woman. She's quite ugly. So take the China route. Go get jacked. If she came back and she was just like China, and she was just fucking yoked, like fucking, she was like female Brock Lesnar.
It's funny. She's looked the same throughout her entire wrestling career.
Yeah.
Body has not evolved at all. She's always looked the same in Japan, when she came to NXT, when she got called into the main roster, and then now she still looks the same. Like, I feel like, she does need to get yoked or something, because they're trying to put her as eye candy. That's never going to work. And that's not her anyway. It's not what she fucking obviously wants. Be fucking killed.
I'd shave her head.
I ain't gonna lie, shave her head.
She already looks like a lesbian. Go with the whole look. Shave your head, get it like a skull tattoo. Like, just make yourself look like a fucking mean, disgusting, fucking, you're gonna shoot and hurt people, fucking dirty heel, and you just go in there and you double leg someone, get them on the ground, beat the fuck out of them, put them in an MMA hold, and get the fuck up out of there. That's what I'd do. Make her look like, turn her into Chris Cyborg.
That's what I was gonna say earlier, but I
Chris Cyborg don't got eyebrows either. Something, but yeah, I think going to AEW.
Rip Shayna Baszler.
Sometimes Jim Ross always said, sometimes you just need to go and learn a new hold. Go learn a new hold. But and Ronda Rousey, stay the fuck out of wrestling, bro. Like, it's done. Don't go to AEW. I don't want to see that. My heart will hurt for her if she goes to AEW. No, she'll be in death matches on day one, bleeding all over the place. And and she's a geek for wrestling, so she'll think that shit's cool. And you have to remember, she has buddies over there. Like you said, she has that, and then she has CM Punk, who she legitimately is really close friends with in real life. So it's like, I know she would probably want to do that. Plus, I know Tony Khan would pay her a stupid amount of money, so she'd be dumb not to do it. But please, for the sake of your fucking your credibility of what's left, don't do it. Please don't. Please. I'm serious. Like, I don't want to see it. It'd be like if Brock left WWE and went to AEW. I would cry. Like, please don't do that. Don't ruin your fucking credibility. Like, but anyway. Fucking, now we have Drew McIntyre and Gunther. And, it had a video package not on the network, though. It was kind of cool video package, I guess, kind of telling the story of these two behemoths beating the shit out of each other, which was the story of the match, too, that they kind of tried to tell was the Battle of the Titans, where they hit each other with big moves. But I told Devon, and I wrote in my notes, this kind of feels like a slightly longer Raw match with a little bit more, moves thrown in. So I called it a slightly exciting, longer Raw match. This is like a Raw main event. Very comparable to the SmackDown main event Gunther had with Rey Mysterio. Except that one had better psychology and storytelling. But we started off and Drew gets a mild pop. I say mild, meaning like maybe a quarter to half of the arena was like, yeah!
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, he's wrestling again.
And then, whatever. People didn't care. Presentation for Drew has never been the issue. He had a cool looking entrance. There was pyro, the fire, all that bullshit. Comes in the ring with a stupid little sword still, which that part of the presentation I've never liked, but I know some people are into that. Whatever. Go play For Honor, you fucking geek. Imperium members then came out, and they started to introduce Gunther.
Ladies and gentlemen. Love that shit.
And then, Michael Cole mentioned on the broadcast that we're 32 days away from Gunther surpassing the Honky Tonk Man's title reign. When I heard that, I laughed because it's Honky Tonk Man. And because I thought a Honky Tonk Man's smoking crack with fucking Iron Sheik and New Jack on that fucking shoot interview. And then I also thought about it and I was like, well, thanks for spoiling the match, Michael Cole, because ain't no way no one thought that motherfucker was going to win to begin with. And now you just pretty much cemented it like, oh, he's only a month away? Yeah, no. Drew's getting cleaned up. And then I just sat there and I couldn't get the honky tonk theme out of my head. Got my long sideburns, got my hair slicked back, coming to your town in a mean Cadillac. Just a honky tonk man. It's a honky tonk man. It's a honky tonk man. He's a honky tonk man. He's a honky tonk man. I'm cool. I'm cocky. I'm bad. No, I couldn't get that shit out of my head.
$20 scratcher.
Yeah, I'll get 5 on diesel. But fucking, whatever. The match starts off, collar elbow tie up, try to do a little, what they think is chain wrestling, but it's really not. I don't understand how, everyone calls that shit chain wrestling. At this point, I don't even know what the wrestlers know what they're doing. Chain wrestling is like chaining together a string of moves when you're trying, it's like almost like counters and shit. And you're trying to attack this motherfucker, but he's kind of figuring your shit out. It's almost like trying to figure each other out too, right? And this shit, it just kind of looked like them doing a collar bow tie up, throwing each other around like a test of strength shit. Well, if you're going to do that, just do a fucking test of strength. Because it just looked awkward with the two men involved. But it wasn't like the worst thing ever. At least they're trying. Drew did win the exchange and knocked fucking Gunther down with a shoulder tackle. Then they have some uppercuts and a side headlock takedown by Gunther. Headbutt by Drew McIntyre that sends Gunther to the floor. Gunther then gets up and sends Drew into the post. And he back suplexes fucking Gunther on the steps, because I forgot they went out to the outside of the ring. Gunther is then attacking his back. Keep that in your head, because they don't keep up with that back shit at all. Even though Michael Cole tries to help them on commentary, they don't. There's a big chop by Gunther that drops Drew and sends him to the floor. He then does a double underhook suplex for a near fall. He short arm clotheslines Drew, and then hits another one, and then goes for a third one, but Drew no-sold that motherfucker, and then they both started clotheslining each other in one of the worst fucking spots. It's like they were trying to do the hockey fucking punches, but they were doing the stupid fucking clotheslines instead. It looked fucking terrible. And Drew McIntyre does this shit in his matches a lot, and I'm done with it. Anyway, he chops, chop floors Drew again. He then hits a German suplex to Drew McIntyre, and Drew no-sells and hits a clothesline. Literally, Germans him, he gets right back up, within a second, like he never even got hit by it, and then fucking clotheslines this motherfucker out of his boots. And then fucking a battle of the Titans. I noted it was a kind of a battle of the Titans kind of story being told. Not much psychology, but so far, outside of a few mishaps, it's at least passable. Passable, it could still be like a D grade. It's not good, but it's passable. Overhead belly to bellies by Drew. from a couple from the top rope, they still look like shit. How can it be a belly to belly if you're not touching his fucking belly with your fucking belly? He like puts his hands there because he's like, I don't want his titties on me, and then fucking throws them over. If anything, it looks fake because you can clearly see the guy, since there's a lot of separation. You can see the guy he's throwing jumping over him. It looks terrible. Plus, he falls down with it. Which is like, okay, if you're going to do like a release overhead belly to belly, that's one thing. But he's just doing a belly to belly over his head, right? And it's a small release, but he like falls down with it, and it looks like he's barely throwing this motherfucker. It looks terrible. But he hit multiple of those. He hit a neck breaker. He did the kip up. And then fucking he signaled that he was going to do the Claymore, but Gunther ducks and then hit that motherfucker with the drop kick. That was a nice spot. Drew escaped a powerbomb attempt from Gunther and hit his own powerbomb. And I'm like, okay, here comes the cover, right? Here's a near fall. Nope. Then he picks him back up and hits a future soft DDT. So I see we've thrown all psychology out the window. Like I said, it's kind of like a heavyweight boxing match where they're just hitting each other with haymakers. It's a battle of the Titans. But with the two guys involved and the moves they're doing, it just doesn't work. Let's see here. Gunther rolls out to escape the Claymore attempt because he sets it up again. And then Drew hits a tope over the ropes. Again, kind of like The Undertaker. Amazing athleticism for that guy that size. In fact, he's actually around The Undertaker's height. Like, he's pretty fucking close. The Undertaker was never 7 foot. He was like 6'9", 6'8". Towards the latter part of his years, probably 6'7". Drew McIntyre's pretty close to that. I think he's legitimately probably like 6'6", 6'5". So it's still, for a guy that fucking big, to clear those ropes without touching them bitches. And doing a fucking tope like that is pretty fucking crazy. He's goes for a Claymore again, but it's once again countered by a dropkick. They did it twice, but this also sets up a Gunther powerbomb for a near fall. And at that point, I had noted, I was kind of a little upset about the powerbomb getting kicked out of. I put a match lost any and all psychology. I'd kind of slipped on how I was looking at it from a point of the Battle of the Titans shit. If you look at it from that point, it makes sense, but from a psychological standpoint, this is not, it's not supposed to look like a real fight, I guess. This is supposed to look like a fucking, two guys throwing big moves at each other, which I just don't care for. Gunther then hits a frog splash, or which, at least what I thought I would call a frog splash, but that shit looked abysmal for a near fall. He then starts slapping Drew in the face, and he chops Drew, but Drew catches it and hits a chop of his own, and then that sets up the hockey chops. Looked like fucking shit. Drew's chops especially look like shit, but they have more sound to them because, Gunther has quite a bit of body fat still, even though he lost all that weight. So when you slap him, I'm kind of heavy set myself, so you can hear the slap. Whereas with fucking, Drew, he's kind of solid, so it didn't make as much noise. You said what?
Here's the meat.
Yeah. Afterwards, he wins the chop battle and then hits the ropes and lands the Claymore for a near fall. I will say after that, both guys were selling quite a bit, although it didn't make as much sense for Drew to sell, considering he had no-sold every other thing done to him in the match and he just hit his finish. Why would he be selling as if he's, went through a war? You no-sold everything else you've been hit with. But anyway, I did put nice selling by both men. Drew puts Gunther up top. He chops Gunther. They're now exchanging slaps up top. And Gunther throws Drew off, hits a splash again. Still looks like shit. And then Gunther gets up, hits him with a power bomb. Gunther gets the win. I had put in my notes, turned spot festy towards the end, but overall not a horrible story being told. Just a forgettable match at the end of the day. Felt like an exciting Monday Night Raw match. I think that pretty much nails it, right on the fucking head. By nowadays standards, it'd probably be an average match on my fucking rating scale, because I've actually seen decent wrestling. It'd be below average. It's not like it's that much below average. They are better than some people I've watched, and I'd rather watch that match than, like, The Godfather wrestling someone or whatever. But, no, let's just be real. Some of the shit in Attitude Era was fucking ass. But, goddamn, I'm just a contrarian to be a contrarian, according to that one fuck on the Apple podcast. And all I say is that Attitude Era wrestling was better. No. But anyway, yeah, no. There's a lot of people, that I would rather watch this match over. But fucking, it was nothing. You're gonna forget it. Devon forgot it the day of the fucking event.
Yeah. Literally, I was bored at the event watching it. I was bored watching it here. They didn't do anything for me. I literally forgot it once I got home from the event. The fucking next day, because I went to talk to them about the fucking pay per view or whatever, and I completely forgot that match was on the card.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, it's another stinker for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wouldn't really call it a stinker though. I just think it just didn't, because it's not like it was bad. Like bad
No,
would be like,
no, it wasn't bad. It was just I didn't fucking remember it.
Yeah, it's just not memorable. It's nothing that's gonna rock your socks off, and it just feels like it's getting in the way of, you want to get to the shit you actually want to see.
Right.
It's taking up too much time on the card. It's not going to be good. I don't want to see it.
Yep.
So we get a payback commercial again, and a commercial for Cody Rhodes' documentary. I've heard good things about the documentary. I haven't watched it yet. Be interesting to see what they include in that. And now it's time for Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight title. I don't know. I was all over the place with this match personally. Well, I guess we'll break it down, but I didn't care for it. I've seen these two wrestle. I feel like the ceiling for this match was only so fucking high because I have seen these fuckers wrestle fucking ridiculous amount of times at this point on both sides of it. Well, Finn's been the heel, Seth's been the heel. They both had, they played both roles. No one cares. This match didn't even come close to being as good as the one they had at SummerSlam in 2016. And it wasn't like that match was all that great either. It was kind of the same shit, spot festy shit. Yeah, and then the storyline, I'm watching the video package. And I gotta tell you, for someone that doesn't watch it, I don't know how the fuck they were able to follow this bullshit. Because it was all over the fucking place. So, I got it when we got to the finish. I understand where they're going. But I didn't know where the fuck they'd been, and they didn't do me any favors with that video package. So, I didn't even know who the fuck was supposed to be the face in this match. It's not a relatable story either. It's not like they went all in on the revenge shit. They had to put Drew fucking, the fuck's isn't it, Damian Priest into this shit. So it's not even like it's just a full-on, revenge shit. Otherwise, I could kind of relate to that. But even then, I'm not going to go as far as to do some of the shit that Finn Balor's doing. And I feel like revenge shit only works with baby faces. So, it just, because if the heel doesn't get his payoff for the revenge, he looks weak, and that almost always happens because you can't have the heel beat the fucking face clean like that. So, this was just doomed from the start. But, it could have been interesting at least if they had put on a good match, but we didn't get that. Spot festy bullshit. I guess let's run through it. Where do I begin? Let me find here. Finn starts attacking Seth for the bell. They do the stupid hockey fight shit again. That's like the third match on the card that did that shit. WWE piped in at this point at the beginning of the match after he did that. He put his arms out after the hockey fight or whatever. And I noticed they had piped in the singing chants again because if you look, they had a panoramic view of the arena or the stadium. No one's mouths were open. So, whatever. But it did work because it got people to sing along later. Shortly after it, so whatever. Noted that in the beginning it was kind of spot festy. Finn's working over the wrist and shoulder. He was caught calling spots. They've edited that out of the network broadcast. But he was caught calling spots. They had a camera angle close up on Finn Balor when he was in a side headlock. And you could literally not only A, hear him, but B, see that you could read his lips. He's working on the arm and tangling it in the ropes. Drives Seth into the turnbuckle and keeps applying the hammerlock. He hits him with the side Russian leg sweep and attacks the arm again. Then he puts him in a Fujiwara armbar. Every time Seth starts to, get some offense or explode, Finn attacks the arm and stops his explosion. It's usually a bunch of strikes, so I didn't note him that much. Elbows his shoulder. And then Rollins starts to get a comeback. He does like the little rebound clothesline after an Irish whip attempt. It's kind of like Dean Ambrose used to do, where he like bounces off of the turnbuckle and then rebounds into a clothesline. Rollins then grabs Balor's beard and starts headbutting him. Let's see here. God damn it. I didn't need to fucking hit that. God damn it. Where is it? Lost it. Oh, there we go. Seth hits a clothesline for a near fall. He then goes for a pedigree, but Finn Balor escapes. He then escapes a sling blade attempt and hits a Falcon Arrow for a near fall. Seth goes for a suicide dive 3 times, and they all looked like shit. And I even noted, it was like, way to make the suicide dive look even more fucking pointless. Seth goes up top, but Balor intercepts him. Balor throws Seth into the ring post. I noticed that, into the ring post, into the barricade. So it was kind of a recreation of the SummerSlam 2016 spot. I did say it was kind of a cool throwback. Balor then goes inside, hits a sling blade, and does the shotgun drop kick. But Rollins is able to counter with the super kick. Kind of a cool spot. Finn hits a sling blade counter, though, for the fucking super kick. And fucking gets a near fall. And then Finn applies an arm bar, again, attacking the arm. Which Seth has not been selling throughout this whole match at this point. So Michael Cole goes as far to remind us right then and there that reminds everyone Rollins' arm was hurt since Rollins himself seemed to fucking forget about it. Rollins then escapes an armbar attempt with a buckle bomb. He hits 2 buckle bombs in a row. Seth then goes up top and hits a frog splash for a near fall. I said at this point, all psychology's out the window, and the only story is Finn wanting revenge. It's not the greatest. I said Finn has more of a story than Seth Rollins does. Seth is just playing the resilient babyface, and Finn is the bitter, revengeful heel. And it just, I don't know. It just wasn't working. Finn hits a shotgun drop kick, goes for the coup de grace, but Seth intercepts and hits a superplex, but then also goes for the Falcon Arrow. However, Finn has it scouted and counters with a roll-up for a near fall. Both exchange strikes, and Seth hits a super kick. And now they finally sell the 20 moves they did, because they sit there and lay there for a while. Crowd's not really into it at this point. It's kind of dead. But they just cheer for the high spots whenever they come. They tried to get a boo yeah spot going after this, but the crowd just was not having it. Ballard then hits another shotgun dropkick. Corey Graves said Seth lands on his shoulder. Again, Seth's not selling, so it doesn't have that much impact to us. Seth moves out of the way of a fucking, I think it was another shotgun dropkick attempt, and hits him with a pedigree. Crowd makes noise because before Seth can go for a cover, Damian Priest is coming out. Finn gets a roll-up off of this for a near fall. Seth then goes for a fireman's carry, and it goes into a roll-up by Finn Balor for a near fall. Priest hits Rollins, and Finn gets a pedigree for a near fall. Yeah, he hit him when he was by the ropes. Crowd loves the near falls towards the end. They're just going 1, 2, whoa! They're going crazy over the near falls. I said dopamine thirsty sheep that they are. I ain't gonna lie, I must have been really pissed when I was right now. I ain't gonna lie. I know I was not enjoying this match, but I was also tired. You have to remember, at this point in the pay-per-view, this match was probably going on, 9, 10 o'clock? It's already 10, 9 o'clock at this point, and we still have another 2 hours to go. Balor refuses the briefcase when Damian Priest offers him it, and gets hit with a curse stomp for a near fall. Seth then goes up top, and instead of jumping on Finn Balor, jumps on Damian Priest, super kicks Dominic, and then Finn hits him with a sling blade when he goes back into the ring, hits him with the shotgun dropkick again, coup de grace, crowd bites on the whole setup, and it's another near fall. Now Balor's calling to Damian Priest, and he said, now it's time for plan B. Priest distracts the ref, and Balor crawls for the briefcase, and fucking Seth curb stomps him onto the briefcase, and Seth wins. Priest sells anger towards Seth, and also anger and despair towards fucking Finn Balor. Michael Cole asking where Priest's loyalties lie. And I mentioned that it was a boring spot fest with a few good moments sprinkled in and a clusterfuck finish. The crowd cared more about the sing-along chants for Seth Rollins than they did the match. Not the worst thing, again, that you could ever see. The moves, there wasn't like any crazy botches or anything. And from an athletic standpoint, if this was like the opener, this would have been fine. But I'm expecting storytelling, I'm expecting psychology, I'm expecting a wrestling match. They gave me a circus, so wasn't a fan. Devon, what'd you think?
I get where they were trying to go with the old Damian Priest thing. Him. Well, no, because in some instances they're like, okay, he's sticking to the plan, he's doing this, right? And then later on, when that doesn't work, he's kind of dragging his feet to do what he's supposed to do. And it's like, oh, you cost me the match because you're slugging around.
I don't know what plan B was, because he literally yells out to him and he's like, it's time for plan B. So then he goes to distract the ref, and then he crawls. Right. He's still on the ground at this point. He crawls for the briefcase and eats the curb stomp.
Well,
what the fuck was plan B supposed to be?
I have no idea. I guess he was just supposed
to
blast. Well, no, I think he was just supposed to give him the briefcase so he can blast Seth with it and fucking, I don't know, win the match like that. But it's like, if that was the case, then that's literally just plan A again, isn't it? It's the same shit.
How would you know that? But hold on. How would he know the briefcase would be in the ring like that? They couldn't have planned that because it was already in there from the first plan. It makes no fucking sense. That's what I was thinking when he went up to the ref.
No, because it wasn't in the ring before that. It's because Damian, the ref was already distracted by Rhea before that. So Damian slid the briefcase in there, goes over, Rhea jumps off of the thing, then he jumps on, distracts the ref. And obviously Finn is supposed to grab the briefcase and, crack Seth over the head with it, but he gets curb stomped for it. I think what they're going to go for forward is, obviously Finn's going to be fucking pissed off about Damian Priest taking so long to fucking, do whatever the fuck he was supposed to do. It's going to cause dissension in the Judgment Day. Yada, yada, yada. The match itself wasn't great. I mean,
that doesn't sound like a storyline I want to see. It doesn't sound good to me.
It's a clusterfuck.
Yeah?
I don't know. But the match itself, I mean, I've seen those guys wrestle before. So it's just it's nothing new. It's nothing special. It's not
they just wrestled on the last pay-per-view.
Yeah. So, I don't know. There's nothing really different there.
And mind you, when I say it was 9 to 10 my time, that means it was 10 to 11 your time.
Yeah. By that point, we were pretty depleted. Pretty depleted. So, I don't know. Everyone, at least in my section that I was sitting at the fucking, they were rooting for Finn. I don't think, because everyone loves the sing-along shit, but I don't think everyone's on board for Seth as champ. As much as people on the internet would fucking say otherwise.
Yeah.
People don't care about.
I thought Finn was supposed to be the fucking face. I thought he was like this, because usually you don't do a revenge storyline unless you're doing that. And then also the way Seth was talking to him and shit.
Well, I think it was intended for Finn to be the face in this, but because of the stupid sing-along shit. He's turned into a heel. That's what I think it is. People aren't going to care enough about Finn to fucking cheer for him as the babyface because they want to sing Steph's stupid song. So that's I'm done. When I say that's when I say that's a plot point in the story, it's literally a plot point in the story. They had to stop fucking doing the promos in the ring because all the crowd would do was sing Steph's stupid song instead.
That's so
Finn
fucking sad.
Talk at all.
It's fucking sad.
And that I'm not gonna lie, that ruined the feud for me for a good bit. I was just like, fuck this. I'm not even gonna pay attention to the feud anymore. I'm just gonna wait for SummerSlam, and then I'll enjoy the match at least. And I can't even do that. So
Yeah.
This whole feud has been just ass.
Well, and it's like Rhea Ripley really didn't do much either. I don't even know why she was there.
No.
She distracted
Yeah.
the ref one time, but like usually she'll get involved in like
Uh-huh.
not even then. Like I say that she's kind of gone back to what she did before, where she didn't do anything.
Well, now she's just holding the title now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's turned into Paul Heyman. She's the title bitch.
She's the wise man, the wise woman.
Yeah, the wise woman.
No, I mean, like I said, the match was okay. I didn't care for the shenanigans, but it's like Roman Reigns in the bloodline. And fucking Judgment Day's got to intervene. Got to push
let me
this
ask you
story.
this.
To fucking,
So let's say Seth drops the title of Damian Priest or Finn Balor or whatever, and we know Damian Priest and Finn Balor going to their shit.
Right.
Well, then who the fuck does Seth Rollins start feuding with?
Shit, that's a good question. Damn. I don't know. Well, well, okay. I can say that now because fucking obviously the guy in line now is Shinsuke Nakamura because they're doing the shit on Raw.
No.
Yep, Nakamura
Please,
just
no.
turned heel on Raw. Yep.
Bro.
He turned heel on Seth Rollins.
We already watched Nakamura and Seth Rollins.
Well, you got to watch it again because Nakamura just turned heel on Raw, and
will they at least put the belt on Nakamura?
Probably not. Probably.
No.
It's going to be another L for Nakamura.
What if Pat McAfee comes back and starts dancing on the table? Then can we get?
Oh my God, no! You want him and Rick Boogs again?
Yeah, let's not. Let's not. No.
Hey, look, that was a dark time.
I remember. God, that was one of the funniest shit. We were watching that SummerSlam from I think it was like 2021 or something like that, and Nakamura just won the IC belt at the time, and he like changed the belt and everything, and it looked like he was getting this push. And he didn't have a match on the card, but it was like there was so much like time to fill that it felt like when he came out, we were about to get a match, and he was in ring gear and he had the belt and everything, and Devon's like, "Oh yeah, here we go," and Devon's like getting all excited for the match and shit, and then Pat McAfee gets on the table and starts dancing, and Devon goes quiet. And then fucking Nakamura starts dancing with Rick Boogs and Pat McAfee. And then it just cuts to a backstage segment, and that was it. And I was like, hold on, see y'all? They wasted like 3 to 4 minutes just having these motherfuckers dance and come out and blue balled us on a match just to have motherfuckers gyrate on a table. Turn off.
I'm pretty sure I blew a gasket.
Oh, you did.
So it was a moment of weakness.
Nah, that shit's diabolical. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, that whole match with Seth and Finn, I was rooting for Finn to win. Everything about Seth Rollins now is just I can't get behind it. I can't get behind him as champ.
Bro, I can't even tell his gimmicks apart, bro. I remember we were sitting there trying to talk about like all of his gimmicks in order one time, and I kept confusing like the Monday Night Messiah from like his other gimmick or whatever. Like he has like it's the same shit. Yeah. Same shit. And speaking of the same shit, next we got Asuka versus Charlotte versus Bianca Belair. And let's rewind to last year when a female won the fucking Money in the Bank. That fucking, had not been built up and is seen as a jobber. And Liv Morgan. Well, fast forward to the same time this year with almost the same shit, except for Ronda Rousey's not involved.
Yeah. Well, just take Ronda Rousey and replace Ronda Rousey with Charlotte.
Yeah. Same shit.
They're both hated.
Yep.
the IWC. So
And so we
Same
got
shit.
a similar situation. This is a triple threat match. Bianca, they don't know what the fuck to do with her because she's their fucking female John Cena, but they don't want her, like, looking weak. That's why they had her win this match. And Asuka, they don't give a fuck about. I think they only put the belt on her thinking that, like, maybe people will stop not caring about Asuka, but then people still don't care about Asuka. And then Charlotte, she's Charlotte. She's always going to be fine. But it's like, it's just, it felt like they kind of booked themselves in a clusterfuck because I also feel like this is 3 of their best women on the roster. And someone was going to come out of this looking bad. Whether it was going to be Charlotte or it was going to be Asuka or whatever. I think all 3 of them look kind of goofy except for Bianca. I think Bianca looked the strongest.
Bianca came out looking the best out of all that. And I think Charlotte looked goofy, and Asuka, I think, looked the worst, honestly.
Yeah. She went back to being a jobber.
Yep.
I don't know. Because I don't even know where you go with Asuka from this. She ain't going to feud with fucking...
No.
Well, no, she'll have a... Maybe.
No, she'll feud with Io. I think so.
But it's like, okay, so you have Io beat her like 2 or 3 times in a row, and it's like, well, then what? Then what? What's next for Asuka after that? Nothing. She goes back to the fucking wrestling and the fucking dark shows and the dark matches and shit. No one cares.
Should be a house show legend.
Yeah. But anyway, I pointed out at this point, it's well beyond 10 o'clock. We're getting close, and we're getting close to like 11 at night. It's like maybe 10:30, 10:20, somewhere around here. And this show should have been over by now. And so I put in my notes, I was like, I'm not even there, and I'm tired. And so, yeah, they're showing the video package, and in the video package, they noted that it was a no DQ, no count out. I was like, what's a triple threat match? That's always the fucking case, you fucking idiot. Like, Bianca, they did not do her any favors with that promo. No, I put in here, I said, not big expectations, probably be a clusterfuck or a spot fest. If that's not exactly what it ended up being. Charlotte came out with a new theme, or maybe she already had it, but it was new to me, and I didn't really care for it. I said it sounded like a shitty dubstep cover.
Oh, yeah, no, she's had that theme since she came back. Remember when she came back and beat Ronda for the title, like the same night?
Oh.
It was on like a SmackDown.
She had that at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
God, it's probably in my... I don't even remember that.
I think it was that SmackDown, like right before the New Year, or maybe it was the SmackDown of the New Year. It was one of those 2 where she came back and she beat Ronda for the title, like the fucking night she came back, and everyone was like rejoicing. But then I'm like, okay, in like 2 months you're gonna be fucking complaining about Charlotte holding a belt again, and lo and behold, it was exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Asuka came out second, which made no sense. Oh yeah, Charlotte, Michael Cole mentioned that she was 5-0 at SummerSlam, which meant she was the only other remaining wrestler that I can think of besides Hulk Hogan that is undefeated at SummerSlam. Asuka came out second, which made no sense for a champion. I pointed interesting. Usually whenever they have a champion come out before the next person, it's usually actually a telling sign that the champion will win. But in this case, it's a triple threat, so I didn't know where they were going with that. I mean, they literally, without fail, if the champion comes out first, it's usually how it goes. I know the Mania I went to, where it was Brock versus Roman, and Brock was the champion. Brock came out first, and Roman came out second, and Brock ended up winning. Like, that's usually how they book that shit. You can kind of go back and look at the history of that, and it's always kind of been that way. No difference here. And then goddamn Bianca, she comes out and she's drinking C4 energy, which Devon was drinking at the same time just to stay awake.
That match was fast.
Another note that I put in here that I thought was stupid, when Charlotte was being announced, they said she's from the Queen City.
They've been saying that for a minute, too.
That is fucking cringe.
They've been saying that for years.
No, I just I guess I never paid attention, but when I heard that, it drove me insane. I said the ref, go back and watch when the ref holds up the belt before the bell rings.
Mhm.
She looks like she's fucking depressed as fuck. Like, that bitch looks like she's about to obliterate a building.
Oh my God.
Go back and look at it. Like, it did not look good. I was like, what's going on?
You should have screenshotted it and put it on the fucking banner for me.
Oh my God, I should have! Damn it!
Hey, it's still time. It's still time. It's still time.
Yeah, I guess I could put that at the thumbnail. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so then, anyway, they said this match is probably just gonna stick to high spots or whatever the fuck. Oh yeah, I said I was probably gonna stick to high spots or whatever. I was just gonna put the high spots because breaking this down move by move was gonna be a nightmare. Charlotte did the Flair spot over the rope where she like gets Irish whipped and like gets whipped over the rope and then like over the turnbuckle little area. Looked like shit. Crowd's dead silent. I noted that. I noted Charlotte looked a step off. Usually she's like, you know, she looks pretty athletic, but in this she was kind of meandering around. I noted crowd couldn't give a fuck. I noted all the women were moving slow. It's just like something was off. They would speed it back up, but yeah, it was kind of weird. A lot of miscues. Bianca botched the little fucking knee to the steps. I don't know if that was intentional or if she was hurt or what. Looks like it was a work. But I'm telling you, like the look on Asuka's face, which they've edited out of the network version, and the live broadcast when she fucking did that shit and Asuka goes up for a superplex. She looks down because it's coming from the angle that fucking Bianca was at, and they were trying to avoid Bianca on the floor. And they cut to that camera so you couldn't see her over in the corner in the medical staff. And you look at Asuka and you can tell she's looking down at Bianca, right? And she just looks like she's seen a ghost. Like, I really think that either A, she didn't know it was a work if it was a work, and that's why she looked like that. Or B, she knew, like, oh my God, she's involved in the finish. We need her. What the fuck what's going to happen now? So her and Charlotte just kind of call it and, you know, go together doing their little spots or whatever. And Bianca comes back out. She comes back down the ramp. And she hit probably what was the best and the most memorable spot of the match. The only thing I remember from the match. And that being the 450. Amazing facial selling from Bianca to sell the pain and everything. I thought it worked. I'll give her that. It was in the 450 was to stop the figure 8 attempt by Charlotte. I'm telling it was great. It was a great spot. And then fucking Charlotte puts the figure 8 on Bianca and attacks the bad knee. And then fucking Asuka spits out the blue mist onto Charlotte. And Charlotte crumples like fucking a spider or whatever. Shrivels up whenever you spray it with shit. Kind of a weird looking way she fell. And then fucking, Asuka tries to put her in a goddamn one bullshit. Bianca escapes and then hits her with the roll up. And Bianca wins the belt. Well then, after Asuka makes weird faces in the camera for like fucking 20 seconds, and sticks her fucking blue fucking airhead tongue out, here comes goddamn Io Sky to cash in on Bianca Belair. And Bayley goes full stone cold with a fucking steel chair, just whacking anyone with a fucking pulse that's in the aisle. And then fucking, they go in the ring and she tries to knock out fucking what's-her-face, goddamn Bianca with the fucking briefcase. Bianca moves, Bayley falls over, but then fucking, what's-her-face, goddamn Io grabs the briefcase, smacks her with it in the ribs, smacks her in the head, goes up top for the fucking one bullshit after officially telling them that she cashed in, does the Lita pose, because she's a mark, and then fucking hits the goddamn moonsault for the 1, 2, 3, and she's your new women's champion, SmackDown women's champion, whatever the fuck. She's your new women's champion.
Yeah, I think it's just WWE Women's Champion.
Well, then what's the other one called?
The Women's World Champion.
About to say, you can't call it a heavyweight.
Yeah.
Unless Nia Jax is holding that motherfucker. But
oh my God.
But I don't know. Match didn't work for me. I feel like it was 18 minutes of meandering miscues and just trying to do these spots. I feel like they felt like they had a lot to follow. They didn't have a lot of time, maybe, compared to the other matches they thought. But this match was the second longest match on the card. So, I don't fucking know. It definitely will put you to sleep. It's not a great way to build up to a main event, I'll say that. You don't want to have people, like, losing all their energy for a main event. But you don't want them to go into the main event fucking tired. So, I don't know. But I didn't care for it. I don't know or care where they're going in the future. I guess we already kind of talked about, like, maybe it'll be Asuka and Io, and then fucking, who the fuck knows what the future for Charlotte and Bianca is. I'll give credit to Bianca Belair. I still don't, I'm not a fan of her in-ring work at times, and I don't really care for her as a character or anything, but she is definitely just carrying the fucking company at times, because some of her house shows, or the house shows they got with her on it, they're drawing better when she's in the main event, and she sells the most merch at a lot of house shows lately, so she's kind of eclipsed Alexa Bliss in the merch sales. But yeah, I'll give her credit for that then. She's helping to make money still. But outside of that, I don't care. I know Charlotte's at, like 14 or 15 or whatever now. It won't be long. Won't be long. She'll be at 17 for too long. Felt like that was the direction they were going to go, was Charlotte was going to win. And then fucking the one bitch was going to fucking cash in on her. And have Charlotte work with Damage Control, which is a heel faction since Charlotte's a face. But I guess it makes more sense that the crowd didn't like Charlotte anyway, and Bianca's the bigger face anyway. Makes sense. I just don't know where they're going to go with Charlotte. I feel like if I was going to use Charlotte right now, I'd have her putting people over. Because she's kind of at the same stage of her career that Ric Flair was at in like the late 80s, early 90s. Early 90s, late 80s, like he was putting guys over like Sting and shit, because she's literally the same age as him during that time period. And she's been in the business damn near the same amount of, of time as Rick was at that time. So she's getting to the point where it's about time for her to start putting people over. Doesn't mean she isn't going to be a star. She's still going to win some world titles. I mean, Rick kept winning world titles all the way up until he was like in his fucking 50s. But she's getting to that stage where it's about to end. I think people are gonna look back on Charlotte and like they're doing with Randy Orton now, and not realizing what they had until it was gone. Because she's been consistently the best worker in the females division. Everything she's involved in is always typically really good. I feel like people are kind of underlooking her importance of what she's done now, and that, like, I swear to God, in like a few years, people will jump on the fucking Charlotte train talking about she was the GOAT and all this and that. But right now, in the heat of it, people are just looking at it like it's fucking terrible, and I feel like it's impacting her booking. But
yeah,
it's what it is. It's kind of what happened to Randy Orton. He had a lot of stop and starts because the fans were fucking revolting against it, and But now everyone looks at Randy Orton like, oh my God, he was one of the best ever. It's like y'all didn't appreciate him until he was gone. So it's what it is. Like I said, Charlotte's got like maybe 5 years left, 5 good years, like one last really good run. So hopefully she gets some good feuds and shit. I don't think you're going to see it. She's definitely not going to be a full-timer for much longer. I think in the next year or two, she's going to start taking a lot of time off. She already took a lot of time off to begin with injuries, and she was pregnant, and she had to, she's getting married. And so for too long, you're not going to be seeing much of Charlotte, and you need to appreciate what she's doing now, because when she's gone, then you're going to be watching this bullshit. So, yeah. But outside of that, that's all I got. Devon, you got anything for that match?
I mean, it was putting me to sleep at the arena. Only really cheering for Charlotte anyway, because I'm a Charlotte mark. Care, suck my dick at IWC. I don't care. I mean, they weren't getting me with that sort of brother.
And to be fair, it's not just Charlotte that I feel like people are taking advantage. Like, people are not looking back on Becky Lynch the same way either. And a lot of it is because of some of the shitty booking she's been put into. And I don't care for her gimmick. But her in-ring matches and shit, people are kind of overlooking that too, because I'm telling you, when they're going to look back on this shit, just like they did, just like Randy Orton, they're going to look back on this and they're not going to realize what they had until it's gone.
Me, Becky, I'm not really a fan.
Sasha Banks, that I don't blame the fans for that one. She's just a mark for herself.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think people are going to look back on this, and they're because the women's wrestling division I've never cared for, but these women actually sometimes would outwork the men. And I feel like people are going to look back on this years from now and realize what they had, because the women's division we're about to get, that they're starting right now, ain't looking so hot.
Look, you got to look forward to Roxanne Perez and
no, turn it off.
Or Jade.
Raquel Rodriguez Gonzalez. That bullshit. Yeah, I know.
This wasn't doing anything for me.
Yeah.
Asuka looked like shit. She's been looking like shit as of recently, and it's
she's looked like shit for years now.
Yeah, she looked like shit for a while. So putting her in here with Bianca, who she's consistent. Bianca. Yeah, who she's consistently looked like shit with for a good while now. And then just on sprinkling Charlotte in there, I wasn't
we shouldn't have said that. I can't get that out of my head now. Now I can't stop. Yeah, now all I hear is Wade Barrett saying Bianca and fucking. I can't get fucking William Regal saying goddamn fucking Umanga out of my head too. He used to call Umaga. He used to call him Umanga. Yeah, no, go back and listen. He used to call him Umanga when he was like the GM of Raw. William Regal. What the fuck is it with these fucking British fucks with like throwing it in and like putting heavy emphasis on that shit with these fucks' names?
I'm gonna have to start saying that for us.
No, he'd be like, Santino would be like, who am I wrestling tonight? He's like, I'm gonna put you in a one-on-one match with Umanga. And it's like, Umanga?
That's okay shit.
Who the fuck is Umanga? No, yeah. Go back and watch William Regal, and then you got fucking Wade Barrett, Bianca. Why they gotta put an ank in that motherfucker, bro? What's going on?
I can't stop hearing Dogcast, dude.
I don't know. I like Bianca. I like Umanga. They're my favorite wrestlers. Next to the British Bulldog.
Oh my god. Oh, nah, but that whole shit with the wardrobe malfunction and the awkward spots. And then the fake out, them trying to build female John Cena. I'm glad it was over with. I wish it would have went a little shorter. Because that dragged on for a little bit. I wasn't jacking that. This isn't fucking Kurt Angle versus Triple H versus The Rock, okay? Yo cashing in. I mean, I know Nate's somewhere fucking cooning out, having a good old time. Everyone in the arena popped for that shit. Just like, okay.
And in a few months, him and everyone in the arena will stop caring.
Even what's his name was fucking marking out too. Muhammad. Yeah.
Look, Nate marked out for fucking Kofi Queenston winning the belt, and then didn't care like 2 months later. Everyone does that. They're all the Twitter fucks that watch this shit. That's what they do.
Well, I don't know. It didn't do anything for me. The cash-in didn't do anything for me. Charlotte didn't look good. I don't know. -5. No. It was whatever.
It's like, hit it with the EDP. I mean, it's all right. Like,
yeah, literally.
Overrated as fuck, in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah. So then we get to the main event, which would take up a whole quarter of the show. And holy fuck. Fuck you, WWE. Fuck you. Fuck you, pal. Fuck you saying fuck me for you. Fuck you. Because this shit didn't end until midnight my time. I'm on Central Standard Time. That means people on fucking goddamn Pacific time, or not Pacific, Eastern time, that shit didn't end until fucking 1 a.m. You have 60,000 fucking people in the building. It's a fucking Saturday. Most of them probably got church in the morning or family gatherings or, bullshit to go deal with. I don't think, and they have kids. Most kids will probably pass the fuck out. It's fucking 1 a.m. Well past their bedtime. What the fuck were you thinking? God damn. Like, nah. Like, that shit literally didn't end until fucking 1 a.m. Eastern, fucking midnight Central. Shit started at fucking 11, or not even 11. It started like 10:50. 10:50. And it ended at midnight. Midnight. That means even people in like California, that shit ended at like 10 o'clock. Usually pay-per-views for them end at like 8 or 9. This shit drug on way too long. And you'll notice on the fucking photo that you guys are looking at that keeps cycling through on a slideshow, there is a Becky Lynch ice cream bar. I don't know. I found it on Snapchat. And I put a crying fucking nerd on it, which he has Dwight Schrute or whatever. Crying nerd. You know why? Because the fucking virgins in the IWC are sitting there bawling their fucking eyes out because Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch wasn't on this card. And before we got into the show, I was like, it's already 8 matches. What the fuck? I agree. Like, this shouldn't be on there. Fuck them. They're just marking out. Well, I've turned a new leaf. To you virgin wrestling fans, I concur that, yes, there was definitely time for that match on the card if they were going to go to fucking 1 in the goddamn morning. But, go fuck yourself. I still don't care. No, but in all seriousness, I mean, this literally went on for an hour and 10 minutes. Hour, 10 minutes. They had so many guys on the card that they shoved in the Battle Royal they could have done shit with. If you're going to make me sit here and suffer for fucking, 5 hours, at least give me some shit to suffer to that I care about, or will at least halfway enjoy watching. Like, this was fucking ridiculous. It drug on way too long. There was a whole lot of nothing going on for the longest time. All the marks are pissed because they just probably assumed that fucking, that Jay was gonna win. I don't know where the fuck they would have got that idea.
Yeah, I don't know. But you had a whole bunch of maybe Jay's gonna win it. So I said, yo, what are you talking about, bro?
So, it just, this whole, I don't feel like this did favors for anyone. I feel like the marks for Jey Uso didn't like this. The people that are so into the Bloodline storyline, they're not happy because of the finish and because of, the interference, and that fucked the whole stipulation of the match. They're also not happy because this was an hour and 10 minutes of boredom. Roman dick writers that have been shitting all over AEW, all over fucking social media, talking about, you guys don't got Roman, huh? Fuck you. Well, I wouldn't want Roman right now, because this match was fucking trash! The reason this fucking show is called Summer Slump is because of that match. Now, was it a terribly worked match? No. Was there decent psychology at times? Yeah. Was there a story being told that was worth the shit? Debatable, but it was alright. It went on for an hour and 10 minutes. And I'd understand if there was some cleverly made spots, or they had figured a way to, they've worked with each other a lot, so that way they know how to work a 60-minute match. Flair and Steamboat worked 60-minute matches. Hell, as much as I hate John Cena, he worked a 60-minute match against Shawn Michaels on a Raw. That was put together better than this shit. Brock and Kurt Angle went 60 minutes and it was entertaining. This shit was just a whole lot of nothing going on with no creatively set up spots. It was a fucking generic, it looked like an Extreme Rules match that lasted an hour and 10 minutes with no crazy Extreme Rules spots. They promised this tribal combat and all this crazy shit. And yet, fucking, you got this tribal combat shit, and all it resulted to was just a stupid little hardcore match that broke its own stipulation when fucking Solo and Jimmy Uso both interfere, but we'll get to that. Let me go ahead and go through the fucking spots. But I think this match was fucking, for what it did to the show, and for, this is supposed to be a pretty big, it wasn't a payoff, but it's supposed to be a pretty big moment in the storyline. I thought it fucking meandered all the way to the fucking finish. But we do get a very good video package. In fact, it was not the same video package on the pre-show, which I was astonished by. I was like, thank you. Because the pre-show had a different one. Although I will say, the pre-show video package was better. In fact, I would actually recommend, if you guys are really into the story and you want to see the video package that should have been, watch the pre-show one. Because it actually, you have Paul Heyman cutting this promo about the, I can't remember what the fuck they call it, but the fucking stupid beads and everything. And he's narrating the whole story and everything. It's actually really fucking good. It was better put together than the video package we got, but it was still a pretty good video package either way. Noted it started off and Roman was just kind of slowly working over Jay. Just normal heel shit. Punch him, he goes down, taunts the crowd, whatever, Counters a move, slams him down, taunts the crowd. Eats up a lot of time. Jay throws Roman outside, throws Roman into the steps. Paul Heyman's trying to talk to Jay at this point, and he's like, he's your family. He's your cousin. He loved you. Undertaker. He's reminded Devon of Paul Bearer. Oh, my Undertaker. The fucking, Paul Heyman just sitting there, and then Jay grabs the table, and he was like, don't you put that up. And then fucking Roman jumps him or whatever the fuck, but Paul Heyman had some decent moments in the match. Roman then sends Jay into the ring after that bullshit and then did a drive-by. Roman then is trying to get the crowd into it, but they're dead, man. Like, it's goddamn midnight already in Detroit during this match. So they're tired, bro. So he's trying, he's like going out, he's putting his hand to his ear, he's like talking to the crowd, waving his hands up, trying to get them into it. People don't give a fuck no more, bro. They're tired. They're just waiting to cheer for the high spots and fucking record the shit on TikTok. That's all they care about. So, Jay does an enziguri. Roman stops Jay from doing a suicide dive with a kendo stick. Roman then starts laying in some kendo stick strikes. He gets a "you suck" chant, to which he responds and he was like, did that suck? Did that suck? It's like good playing it up to the crowd. Jay takes the stick away and then starts whacking fucking Roman with it. Well then, fucking Roman stops him before he could go too crazy with it and does the stupid fucking goddamn clotheslines in the corner.
Yeah.
It looked like shit. It looked like shit then, it looked like shit now, and it'll look like shit forever. And then Jay picks up the kendo stick and starts doing a big-ass flurry of that shit. And then he does a tope to the outside to attack Roman when he rolled out. Roman then does a stupid man punch to stop a diving splash. Looked a lot better in slow motion than it did in motion. It almost looked like a botch in motion. Roman was then setting up the spear, but Jay got a roll-up, hit him with a super kick after the near fall, and then did the Uso splash for a near fall. But, that was after 20, 30 minutes already of this match, so that almost could have been the finish. So people were popping for that. On top of that, it's pretty much the way he ends all of his stupid tag matches, so it's like, okay, here we go. He grabs a chair, whacks the fucking shit out of Roman with it, and then he goes outside and, because he just stops whacking Roman with the chair when he could have kept going, which made no sense from a psychology standpoint. Like, you're beating the fuck out of him, you hate him, you have a chair, he's on the ground, he's defenseless, beat the fuck out of him, there's no rules. But whatever, he goes outside and grabs a whole assload of chairs and throws them in the ring. I noted that the match honestly hasn't been that great. I was kind of disappointed. Goes for a top rope superplex, but Roman pushes him off. Jay then does an enziguri, but Roman slips under and hits a fucking power bomb to counter the little fucking move Jay was trying to do for a near fall. I noted the crowd's kind of just sitting on their hands, waiting for Jay to get some offense, because, it was just kind of Roman beating him up for the most part of this match. Every time Jay would get some offense, Roman would counter and then just slowly, methodically walk around doing nothing. Jay set up a spear and was going for it, but Roman countered with the Samoan drop. But then Jay escaped, and he's on the apron. Roman tried to punch him off. At this point, I noted even the announcers weren't talking. Like, even they were dead silent. So even them motherfuckers was like... Jay then tries to springboard, but he eats a Roman right hand. Roman then goes to do the spear, where he bounces off the ropes and was going to go through the ropes, but Jay counters it with an enziguri, and then he lifts Roman up and hits a Samoan drop through the table that Roman had set up on the outside, and he did it from the apron. Jay then grabs the Yapapai Indian strap, brother, and starts strapping the fuck out of Roman with it. At this point, I noted Roman's arm and stomach were cut from the table bump. He had a pretty bad cut on his elbow. They're headed towards the empty part of the arena, where it's all curtained off and there's nobody there in the third of the arena. For those that don't know, Ford Field held 80,000 some odd seats. When they did WrestleMania that year in 2007 at Ford Field, they pulled I think it was 83,000, which at the time was the second highest attended wrestling event ever, damn near, for WWE. I think almost of all time too. It was at least the top 3 or 4. I think there was some shit in Korea or China or whatever. They have more though. But anyway, then Solo comes out and attacks Jay to stop a fucking Samoan drop. At this point, the crowd's into it. They're pissed because I'm pretty sure a decent portion of them are familiar with the story, and I think they realize that's kind of bullshit. There's supposed to be no interferences. Solo clears off the table, which looked fucking stupid. I hate when people do that. I'm gonna hurt you, but I'm gonna make sure we have a soft landing first. Then he does a Uranagi through the table, or they call it the spinning solo, my apologies. Crowd's dead. They don't give a fuck. And then I put, this is a clusterfuck. The finish better be good. So I'm expecting a crazy finish. Roman and Solo pick him up and bring him back to the ring. They're setting up a Samoan drop, and then Roman's going to spear him at the same time, which would have looked cool if they could have pulled it off, but Jay moves out of the way, and Roman ends up spearing Solo. Jay hits Roman with a spear for a near fall. The crowd was going fucking crazy for that, because they've been sitting on their fucking hands for 40, 50 fucking minutes at this point, waiting for any fucking thing from Jay that they could go excited for. Because all he's really done up to that point was same spots they always see him do, a couple kendo stick spots, the chairs, and a fucking, the Samoan drop through the table, and that was about it. Roman literally did everything else for the rest of that whole fucking hour, basically. So the fans had nothing to really pop for. Jay then hits Roman with the chair shot, and then he hits Solo with the chair shot, going back and forth. Solo super kicks Jay. Roman asks Solo to help him up. They're outside at this point. Forgot to mention that. Solo refuses. Roman's getting in his face like he's about to do something to Solo, and then Jay spears Roman through the barricade. Crowd eats that up. Solo goes for a Uranagi to Jay, so it's okay, I guess he's not turning on Roman. But Jay escapes and does a diving splash to Solo through the table. The announcer's table, to be exact. Jay then spears Roman in the ring, goes up top for the splash, but a masked man breaks up the cover after he nails the splash. It looks like Jay's going to win. Masked man takes off his mask, and no, it's not Tony from SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. It's Jimmy DUI Uso. And the crowd boos, and there's a "fuck you, Jimmy" chant. And, definitely people were not happy. I think two kinds of heat, marking heat, there was people marking out pissed or whatever. But I also think people are genuinely pissed that they broke the stipulation. And people were pissed that they wanted him to win the belt. So anyway, I did note that that sets up Jimmy versus Jay, which I had told Devon months ago. I was like, that's where they probably need to go with all this. Even before WrestleMania, I was saying that should be a WrestleMania match. Good way to break up the bloodline. But, nope. But at least we're getting it now. Anyway, Jimmy sends both guys into the ring, or whatever the fuck, sends Jay back into the ring after super kicking him. And then Jay gets up, Roman spears him through a table they have set up in the corner. And that'd be all she wrote. I put fucking snooze fest. I said finish kind of, and I'm slightly mean kind of, made up for a portion of the match, but all in all, this is still forgettable. If I'm going to go back and watch a Roman Reigns match from this run, which probably wouldn't do, but if I was, it damn sure wouldn't be this one. This is easily Roman's weakest pay-per-view match of this entire Bloodline storyline. I still think probably his best match of the Bloodline storyline is a toss-up between Sami Zayn and fucking...
Cody.
Cody's up there too, but I was going to say fucking Logan Paul.
Oh, okay.
But fucking I think Cody was better than Logan Paul's, though. I will say that, yeah. It's definitely between those two, or even the Daniel Bryan one at the Fastlane. That was like the first show we ever did.
Oh.
That was better than this shit also. So I just, if I was going to go watch back a Roman match from this whole 3-year reign, this is like the very bottom of the totem pole. Next to like the Kevin Owens shit with the fucking handcuffs and the, no, like, this was not good. I'm not saying Jay's not main event, potential. He's got some stuff there, but man, I don't see it. Especially with shit like this, I know he's not the heel, so he's not going to be calling the match, but man, like, you got to come up with something, dude. Like, this dude did not know how to get any heat. Like, you have the biggest heel in the company and one of the biggest heels in the past, like, 10 to 15 years in the ring, and you can't find a good, satisfying way to get heat off of them for the crowd to go crazy. Like, goddamn. Like, look at Sami Zayn, look at fucking Cody Rhodes, and you tell me they didn't find a better way to get the fans to truly believe, A, they were going to win, or 2, that they were doing something that just got them to go crazy. Like, it's not even that hard, because there's so much people that are done with the title reign. Like, you don't need that much you don't have to come up with that much to get that much fucking heat off you. So it's like, I don't know. I just feel like this was a clusterfuck. I don't really care where they go from here. I've been done with the Bloodline story for a while now. I know the people that are into it, they're probably going to want to know. I was telling Devon during the shit when we were watching it back today, it's like, they better come up with a really good explanation, because people are seriously pissed about this finish. So, with the whole Jimmy and fucking Solo Sikoa interrupting and shit. Which, when I was watching the match, that is something that I remember. I was like, why isn't Jimmy here? And I actually Googled, like, Jimmy Uso, and, like, it said he was injured. So I was like, oh, okay. And, no, I guess they were just saving him for this spot. This was the big surprise. And it's like, whatever. Because I thought, because in the video package, they didn't show him and Jimmy having any problems. They showed, like, him, and that's when he turns on Roman in the video package, him and Jimmy, super kick Roman or whatever the fuck. And so I didn't know that Jimmy was off TV and shit or whatever. So, is what it is. Not the greatest thing, not the worst thing. If you want to go back and watch it in your Roman fucking mark or your J mark, you might find fun and enjoyment out of it, but I doubt you'll be able to get your finger off the fast forward button. Devin, what'd you think?
I'm a Roman mark, so I'm going to be a little biased. But if I take my bias aside, they kind of fucked the stipulation. Because, I mean, like, I was when we were rewatching this, because live I wasn't even, that wasn't even in my head, but rewatching it, when they reiterated in the fucking video package, and I'm thinking back like, damn, there wasn't supposed to be any interferences, and then they do that shit. I'm like, they better have a fucking good explanation for that shit on Friday. Mm-hmm. The match wasn't anything crazy. It's just the fucking Roman Reigns match with fucking, I don't know, Super Kick Palooza. Hey, yeah, Jimmy wasn't really doing, or not Jimmy, fuck.
Okay.
Jay wasn't really doing anything to fucking, like, get me to think he's, like, a believable, he's really gonna do this shit. Like, there was like, none of that.
Most he came up with was doing Roman's moves.
Yeah.
Oh, he did the spear. Oh, he did the stupid man punch or whatever the fuck. Like, that was it. It's like, he even did, like, the rebound spear where he, like, hits the ropes once and then hits the other ropes. Yeah. Like, that's all he did, really. to try to like come up with some crazy shit like. And mind you, you have it's a hardcore match. You can do whatever the fuck you want. My big thing too is that the storyline for this, if anyone's watched the Black Panther movie, which I'm shocked Devon hasn't, I was trying to tell him it's very similar to the storyline they did with that, where, at least in the sense of tribal combat, the way I interpreted it is in Black Panther, to get the title of Black Panther, which is essentially literally just the fucking tribal chief. That's literally all it is. Quite literally. Fucking, because you're the king of Wakanda, but whatever. To get that, they have a thing called fucking, I don't know if it's just called like a fight to the death. There was a name for it. It's like in some Wakandan bullshit, like, but some bullshit like that. But, they would have this bullshit, and they would make whoever was the Black Panther drink this shit so that way he's mortal again. He doesn't have any powers. And they would have him fight the challenger that's challenging him to take the throne. And they would have a fight to the death, and the winner would be the Black Panther. They would get the title of the King of Wakanda. Well, fucking, this was kind of comparable to Black Panther, especially in the sense of when Killmonger, what they could be going with this is within Black Panther, Killmonger, who's played by Michael B. Jordan, comes in there and he fucking breaks tradition and fucking steals the bullshit or whatever the fucking kills the Black Panther, kills T'Challa or whatever, and takes the throne for himself. And no one wants to accept him as the new king, but they're forced to because he'll kill him. And he starts like breaking every tradition. He destroys all the plants that make the shit for people to get the power of Black Panther or whatever. He does all kinds of crazy shit like that. So like maybe this is the route they're going. But what I was expecting was, because just like in Black Panther, this shit was supposed to have a stipulation where no one could interfere. It has to be a battle to the, I guess not the death, but a battle to the win, and whoever wins is the tribal combat. That's how it, they determine who the tribal chief is. Well, that's why if you look at the poster for the show, I have the beads for the tribe shit, right? And there's a big fat troll face on it because they trolled every last one of you. So, yeah, no. I was terribly done. If they were getting inspiration from Black Panther, I don't mind it. It's a cool idea, cool concept. But there better be an explanation, otherwise they just completely buried their whole fucking angle. Top of that, Jim Cornette, I didn't listen to his review yet. I will definitely be listening to it after hours. He had mentioned, I was reading an article, it just said like WWE veteran mentions loophole in match. If Solo was going to come out, which he's not allowed to, but if he's going to anyway, why wouldn't he just come out with a weapon? And why wasn't he there from the start?
Well, like, because it had to be a surprise.
No, it's a plot hole. It's bullshit. It's more convenient bullshit that makes it look fake and bullshit for people that's into the story. It also is part of the reason it got such a bad reaction. Because, like, people really thought there was not going to be any fucking interferences, because if there was, Solo would have been there from the beginning, right? Well, then, no. Like, that makes it even more bullshit, because then they feel like they're actually going to get a chance of Jay winning, right? Since there's no interferences. It's just a one-on-one. Jay might actually have a chance. But then you get not one, but two interferences, and one of those cost him the match. So they felt cheated. Cheated by the stipulation, cheated by the fact that they thought they were going to get a fucking actual match. They didn't get none of that. So, like I said, people are not happy. People on Twitter were pissed about the finish and the plot hole. So, they better come up with something, what is today, Wednesday? They better come up with something with 2 days on that SmackDown that explains this bullshit and gets them out of this one. Because I don't know what the fuck, maybe, like I said, they could fix it and they could just say that Roman's breaking traditions, and then you could have all the former tribal chiefs, which you could just literally just bring up the Wild Samoans, Appa and Sika, Rikishi, all them fucks, and just have them come over there and say that, we'll let you on the council, but we do not grant you the rank of master. Like, fucking, so they strip him of his title of tribal chief, and then they make it a ladder match. That's what I really think they should do. Ladder match, and you have Jay versus Roman in a ladder match for the right of title chief. And fucking, and you could even put the belt on the line, too. You could literally just have both the belt and that shit hanging up there. Which would make for a really good camera shot. Because think of it this way. Like, you have the belt hanging, and then in front of it is the tribal shit. That could literally be a cool camera shot if Kevin Dunn does it right. So, I could see them doing that. It'd be cool to do a ladder match. Plus, that would probably suit Jay Uso's style a lot more. So, he could do his stupid flippity-flip shit. Because he didn't know how to tell a story. And he's tag team wrestlers. Motherfucker don't know how to wrestle solo. And he barely knows how to tag team wrestle because all he knows how to do is flips. I'm just keeping it a buck. I like the Usos too, but let's not fucking get it twisted. So, that's what I'm saying. Main event Jey Uso, I'm not seeing it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll get better. But as of right now, thank God they didn't take the title fucking off of Roman. And if Roman loses that title before he drops it to Cody, I don't think people understand the damage that's going to do to Cody Rhodes.
He's not going to lose that title before he fucking goes to.
I wouldn't put it past him. I would
not
put it past him. Because you have to understand, the fall time for WWE is consistently the worst time of the year for them. And they like to do things that shake things up. That's typically when they'll take a chance on a new person with the belt. That's typically when they'll fucking, they'll give the belt to for example, whenever they have like a heel, like Jinder Mahal or something, they'll give them the belt around that time to carry they'll have that heel get them through the fall time. Because they'll have someone for the babyface to chase or whatever, and it sets up the Royal Rumble and shit. So, fall time is typically where they'll take chances, but they don't just do it with heels. They'll do it with babyfaces sometimes too. Like they gave fucking, AJ the belt in the fall time one time. They gave Danny Ambrose the belt in the fall time one time. So it's like, they're not against the idea, but it's, we'll just have to, again, we'll have to see what they do. I just don't know what WWE's going to go from here, because if they better not fucking have Roman lose that fucking belt. Because, like, the whole thing is, he's literally hasn't lost a fucking match, one-on-one.
Yeah.
And fucking he hasn't lost a title match in fucking 3 fucking years. When whoever beats him for that, it's almost the equivalent of whoever beat the streak.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big deal, and it's going to set that person up as the face going forward, unless it's someone that's not organically over, which that's what Cody has to worry about, is staying organically over by the time they reach that Mania. Because if Cody loses favor with the crowd before they reach that Mania and he beats Roman at Mania, people are going to be pissed, which is why LA Knight is kind of creating a problem here, because people are going to want him naturally. But if he's not legit over and people are just having one of those bullshits where they can't make their mind up, the fans yet again could seriously impact the booking decisions of this company. Hopefully Triple H will stick to his guns and continue to push Cody. But if Cody is getting like full on backlash by like fucking Royal Rumble time and people are just, they're done, then they might have to start looking in a different direction. But that's all I got for this match. Devon, you got anything else? Like, otherwise we can just put a bow on this bullshit.
Pretty much it. I mean, by this time, nigga, I was cooked. Live, when I was there live, I was cooked. There was nothing
when
more.
When you were at home, you were cooked after this.
Yep. Well, no, I was hyped up on fucking 2 C4s like a fucking New York City crackhead. I was up till like 6 a.m, and then
you said you were like Kurt Angle in that video.
Oh,
he
was
like,
yeah!
Oh shit! Goddamn.
Yeah, nah. That's it. I mean, seeing Roman live was cool. Seeing the whole Jay shit was cool. But the match, especially when they got over to getting in the fucking crowd and shit was like, see shit. Time to look at the monitor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they shouldn't have put that fucking area over there. Like, yes. It's carted off for a reason and all this bullshit, because you can't seat the whole fucking stadium, so now you're going to use that, and it's like, okay, but it should be easily presentable for everyone in the fucking arena. So like I said, some things play better to the fucking at-home crowd. Okay. Like, there is a difference. That's why when you go to watch these matches, I'm sure people probably had a different perspective on it, because they didn't get to see all the other bullshit. I know they were watching the monitor, which makes it even worse, because they're already disgruntled. And then you see fucking Solo just pop up out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, fucking bitch. So it's like, yeah. It is what it is. Not much more I got for this pay-per-view. Well, I don't know how many other wrestling shows we're going to do. I don't know if we're going to do weekly shows again. I don't want to. It literally ruins my passion to do this shit anymore. I just can't do it. I don't know how the fuck people got the passion to wake up every day and know that they're about to pour like fucking 8 to 6 hours of their life on some of the worst television on TV in history, consistently every week. Even if the shit is entertaining, you have to sit through and whole. It's one of the worst put together shows. The format of it, it's so bad. Like, you eat like a whole hour and a half of commercials, and they're never at the right times. You never get enough action. I don't know how people do that. They must honestly go wake up and just, they don't care. Like, they're already at the point where they want to kill themselves. Because there's no way. So, I don't fucking know. I don't want to watch this shit weekly anymore. That shit's grits. Y'all got that. In regards to, for future shit for the podcast, I plan on doing a lot more NFL shit this year. I'm going to be a lot more serious about it. Not going to do what I wanted to do and break down the games like individually and shit. I think I'm just going to have like a bullshit show where I kind of talk about, a whole random assortment of shit. Not the way I want to do it. Probably not the way that'll, go over the best, but, we'll see. That's the NFL. UFC, probably done with that shit. Not going to waste my time on that. Boxing, maybe. Just to discuss Jake Paul shit, because there's always like some controversial statements to be said with that bullshit. Wrestling wise, I'll watch the pay-per-views. Don't plan on watching all of them though, because there's some that you just couldn't get me to wake up the next day and want to watch. Fuck that shit. I don't care. Do want to do a lot more retro shit. I was having the time of my life going back lately and watching like 2003 SmackDown. I was thoroughly enjoying it, and I actually made a list that I want to, share with you guys as well. Maybe I'll post on social media or something of what I consider to be some of the best matches I've ever personally watched. I've watched all these matches, and if I were the closest thing you could get to a 4 or 5 star rating. So whenever you hear me talk about what I think wrestling is good, this is the shit that I will point to, that I would recommend you go check out. A lot of it's WWE stuff. There's some WCW stuff sprinkled in there. I need to fill the list out more. I've watched a lot of fucking wrestling, so there's a lot of shit I can throw in there. There's a lot of shit that I forgot that I've seen, that I end up forgetting just how fucking good it was, too. So that's why I've been enjoying going back and watching this old shit and adding stuff to the list. I'm constantly adding stuff to it. But I'll definitely look at that, and, I plan on doing a series where we go through and we rank some shit, do some ranking videos and stuff. Get all kinds of content done for you also. But this is just the first podcast back. We will be back on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all that shit. But there's a big thing with that. So you'll notice in the show, though, yeah, we still said some wild shit. Didn't really hear many cuss words. Didn't hear any M-bombs. Didn't hear any, words that are offensive to the alphabet people. I'm trying to calm that down. I mentioned it in my live stream when I was streaming Here Comes the Pain. We're going to be trying to do that a lot going forward so I can make a show that I don't have to mark it E for explicit. And so that way I don't piss off any more future employers. But, so we're going to try to tone that down. And then also I made a Discord. So make sure you check that out. It's in the description below on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, there's Discord's right there. Feel free to join. It's going to be more of a place just kind of bullshit with each other about sports. And then maybe if you're routine enough, and I kind of like the vibe that I'm getting with you, maybe you could always join. We're always looking for co-hosts or some shit. I'm always looking for people to shoot the shit with the NFL or UFC or something like that. A lot of the guys I know on the PlayStation, they only watch like one sport. So it's like either they watch basketball or they only watch football or they only watch wrestling. So I don't really have people that watch a lot of different shit. Devon only watches wrestling and basketball. So that's all he really does. He doesn't watch football. But then I got people like Nick that only watches football. So it's like, trying to find a good balance of people that watch a bunch of different shit can be challenging. So we're always looking for co-hosts or more people to come on board. And then on top of that, make sure you're watching because I plan on doing some more content on TikTok. I want to try. The goal is to get to 1,000 followers soon, so I can begin streaming on there. And going to do a lot more gaming content as well. So once I get the SSD from my old computer, I can use that to capture footage. Because the Mac I have doesn't have a graphics card because Apple is a fucking asshole. And even though I have a quad-core processor in it, that Mac is not able to stream without a graphics card. So I'm assed out. Even though it's not, the CPU's more than fine with it. It would handle it like a champ. It's just I don't have a graphics card in it, and I'm not trying to buy one because then opening that bitch up is a fucking chore. So, yep, that'll be about it. I don't got anything really else to add. I guess, I'll start getting Devon's social so you can follow him too. But, make sure you follow the show at, J-Rich Talks on Twitter, Facebook, all that shit. Not really active on there, but if I ever post any updates, it'll be on there. Now that we're doing the podcast more and everything, it'll be on there. So back to Spotify, my bad. With the language, the reason that's a thing, is the big announcement with that. All the shows that are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc., will be leaving. So if you have any, shows that you liked or enjoyed, or, there's always people downloading shit in the archives. I see it on, Podbean to this day. Download them now before they're gone, because I'm going to be taking the RSS feed down. It's still up. I'm just not paying for it right now. But, when I pay for it, I put the RSS feed back up. They're not going to be there no more. So I'm thinking about starting a Patreon if I ever get enough people to listen or whatever, and we start making it to where we can make this more of a, make some money off of that. Might charge like $1 or so. I don't know. We'll let you know about that. But if you want to listen to the old shit, it'll be on a Patreon. That's my goal for that, because I'm not trying to have that out publicly where people are going to get offended or pissing off future employers or shit like that. So I'm definitely not going to do all that. Definitely trying to repackage the show. Plus, on top of that, I can't have it on there because it's marked E for explicit, which will fuck the rest of the show going forward. No, we're not going to lose our edge. As you just heard, there's no fucking edge loss. I'm still going to say some outlandish shit. Devon's going to say some stupid shit. We're going to use softer words than we usually would. Which is going to be hard with the IWC, because I like calling you all the shit that you are. But we're gonna tone it down. So, but that's about it. So yeah, like I said, follow the show on everything. Download everything while you can on Spotify and fucking Apple, Google Podcasts, Podbean, all that. And make sure to check out the Discord if you want. Like the show on YouTube, subscribe, all that shit. I'm not gonna go run through all of it. And make sure you check out Twitch for gaming content. Don't know if I'll ever put the podcast back up there. I really do like putting it on Twitter and YouTube. So, but yeah, that'll be it. For the next few shows, we'll be on YouTube, so make sure you check in live. Turn your notification bell icon on so you know when we go live, and we'll see you guys on the next one.